BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: continued anger over closure of Milton Keynes doctor's surgery, highest speed on 40 miles per hour road recorded in Hertfordshire, and dispute over disabled access to buses in Luton.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Over 100 residents attended a meeting in Milton Keynes last night to demand the reopening of a doctor's surgery which closed down suddenly almost 2 years ago. Since the Willen surgery closed, the pressure on neighbouring practices has led to patients waiting longer than the national average for appointments. Patricia McCarthy from Willen Park wants answers from NHS England.
What's missing is NHS England, who have just become invisible. They shut the surgery overnight. We couldn't see them. They thought they'd solved the problem by just dumping people elsewhere.
Britain's worst speeding offenders in 2014 have been revealed, with the highest speed on a 40 miles per hour road recorded in Hertfordshire. A driver was caught doing 115 miles per hour on the A10 Great Cambridge Road in Cheshunt. The highest speeds recorded were two cases of 146 miles per hour on the M25 in Kent. The figures have been compiled by the Institute of Advanced Motorists following a Freedom of Information request. The Labour leader Ed Miliband is to set out a new pledge for primary schools that no child aged 7 or under will be taught in a class of more than 30 for more than a year. Meanwhile, the UKIP leader Nigel Farage is launching his party's general election campaign with a speech in Essex today. Over 20 firefighters dealt with a house fire in the Buckinghamshire village of Ascot near Princess Risborough last night. Paramedics treated a woman who was suffering from the effects of breathing in smoke. A Luton carer is expressing her anger after 3 bus drivers refused to let her and her wheelchair-bound grandmother on, despite the fact they'd taken the same service into the town. Jade Pieri says she and 80-year-old Gladys Croft had to take a taxi back to their Farley Hill home. The bus company Arriva says all routes will be wheelchair accessible by April, but Jade says she was shocked.
I was shaking and crying and trying to be calm, but it just wasn't happening. They were quite adamant that I wasn't allowed on the bus with her unless I could get her out, but sometimes she forgets to walk because of her dementia, so I couldn't get her out.
Official guidance is being issued about the use of hidden cameras to monitor how people are looked after in hospitals and care homes. The Care Quality Commission has produced a pamphlet that sets out what relatives need to consider, but care home owners say they're worried that hidden cameras could undermine the trust between families and staff. Extra police patrols are taking place in Bedford after a spate of thefts from cars. Bedfordshire Police say the peak theft areas include the De Paris, Harper, Poets, Midland Road, Town Centre and Castle areas. In sport, Chelsea are still 7 points clear at the top of the Premier League after a 1-0 win over Everton. There were also wins for Manchester City and Manchester United, and struggling Aston Villa have sacked manager Paul Lambert. The weather: a dry day but cloudy and cold with an odd bright interval possible, a maximum temperature 5 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Just been offered a very unusual ride. I shall pass now, as I'm busy for the next 3 hours. But at 9 o'clock, if the offer's still open, then we'll have a little look. Do you think the offer might still be open?
I very much doubt it.
The offer's going to be closed, is it? That's a shame. Hey, morning guys, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. On the show today, Doctor Availability?
Yeah, go on.
Is it available?
No, availability.
Okay. Wheelchair accessibility?
Yes, that's correct.
An extraterrestrial possibility. Well, we know that that's a fact.
Yeah.
We know.
Probability, we should put, really, shouldn't we?
Definality.
Oh.
I think I just made another word up. It's the first one I've made up in 10 years.
Wow.
But it's a good
not.
one. Sorry?
You make words up every week.
Hey.
Across beds,
Definality.
bucks.
This is BBC
The last
Radio.
word I made up was about 8 years ago.
Yes.
Shindiggery.
Right.
I can't remember what it means. It just means like if you have
Fun times.
It means fun times. Having a little bit of shindiggery, some fun times, shindiggerous.
You make all the words up. You make a lot of rude words up.
That is for the adult show that we broadcast on BBC Suffolk at 10 p.m. and we don't let the Three Counties listeners know that we do that.
Don't mention that.
Don't let them know that we've got another show on a late night show on another radio station on BBC Suffolk, 10 p.m.
And it's utter filth.
Utter filth. You're right, Kelly Betts.
Yes, mate, are you?
I'm waiting because I have foolishly, instead of asking you to get me a couple of songs,
Okay.
I've asked.
Do you know what? I could still not do it.
I've asked Boily Boily Bum Bum, and you're not doing it. I asked you to.
doing it.
Oh, you're not doing it.
Doing it now.
It's not done. I wanted.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, it's not done.
Watch this for being done.
You'll be done in a minute.
Here we go. Look, it's getting done now.
I wanted the greatest rock and roll song. Sorry. I wanted the greatest rock song of all time. Oh, it's done now.
Look what's there.
Yeah, flipping it.
You're welcome.
This is the best song by The Who ever.
Why should I care? Why should I care? Bells are 15, sexually knowing. The ushers are sniffing, all the cologne. The seats are seductive, set up and sing. Pretty girls digging, prettier women. Magically bored on a quiet street corner. Free frustration in our minds and our toes. Quiet storm water, my generation. Uppers and downers. Either way, blood flows. Inside, outside, leave me alone. Inside, outside, nowhere is home. Inside, outside, where have I been? Out of my brain on the sorry, I'm full slumping, falling on water, birthday punching. He-Man drag in a glittering ballroom, greyly outrageous in my high heel shoes, tightly undone. Know what they're showing, sadly ecstatic that the heroes are used. Inside, outside, leave me alone. Inside, outside, nowhere is home. Inside, outside, where have I been? Out of my brain on the 515. Out of my brain on the train. Out of my brain on the train, on the train. Wow, I'm out of my brain. Woo! Out of my brain on the train. Here it comes. Woo! Out of my brain on the train, on the train.
Go away!
Why would a boy play with a girl's toy?
People in this country deserve to have stuff for free.
Now, the sudden closure of a Milton Keynes doctor's surgery has left neighbouring GPs struggling to cope with demand. It's been almost 2 years since patients turned up for appointments at the Willen Village surgery, only to find post was piling up behind locked doors. Nearly 2 years, Catherine.
Yeah, do you remember?
I do remember it. NHS England says waiting times at 5 alternative practices are now way longer than the national average, with many patients being told it'll take more than a week to see a doctor. Catherine Boyle, remind us of the background to this Willen surgery, please.
Well, that Willen Village surgery closed unexpectedly in April 2013, although it seems much more recent than that, doesn't it?
Much more recent than that, yeah.
Although the NHS wouldn't say it at the time, it's believed that one of the doctors who owned it wanted to sell it. Now, this left many patients stranded, and instead of being reallocated new places on the basis of where they lived and their requirements, it seemed to have been done randomly on an alphabetical order.
There were some families, if you lived in the same house, you might not be going to the same surgery.
And some people said, I'm elderly, I find it difficult to get around. Why are you sending me across town?
Yeah.
So some people were unhappy, and these people were at a meeting last night talking about the future of Willen Village surgery. They told our reporter Tony Fisher that they now have a really poor service.
Not good for us because we moved to a surgery that was, 2 or 3 miles away, so we couldn't walk there or anything like that. We're fortunate we don't have to visit very often, but it's not a good service, and of course the doctors won't come out that far if you're not well.
Well, there are older people who live quite near to Willen surgery. It was very convenient for them, but now they've got to go several miles and arrange their own transport in most cases.
So how important is it to get this surgery back?
I'd say for the community it's very important.
Yeah, definitely, and for Milton Keynes as a whole, because the other surgeries are oversubscribed.
Well, that was people talking to Tony Fisher, our reporter, at a meeting last night. What was this meeting?
Well, it was really well attended, as you heard there, from patients and campaigners alike. About 100 people turned out there just to hear what was going on. It was a meeting about the future of that original surgery in Willen. And there is some good news in that there is a potential bidder who is prepared to buy the surgery, which has now been repossessed. Now, we will talk to that bidder later on in the programme. The trouble is that he's dependent on the NHS agreeing to then effectively becoming the tenant. Now, the other issue involves a covenant which states that the site should be used for health provision. The covenant, first of all, needs to be recognised by a government department, which is the Homes and Communities Agency, which holds it and then adheres to it. Now, Patricia McCarthy from Willen Park wants answers from NHS England.
I'm reassured that our local council representatives are doing the best they can. I'm reassured of the goodwill of a supportive medical practice, Newport Pagnell, to help us, and I'm reassured by our prospective buyer. What's missing is actually NHS England, who have just become invisible. They shut the surgery overnight. We couldn't see them. They thought they'd solved the problem by just dumping people elsewhere. We haven't seen them. We don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they did with the money they saved from closing the surgery.
Catherine, where do we go from here? And when I say we, I mean they, them.
Well, time is running out for them and us, and mostly them. In theory, things have to be in place before the next public meeting, which is on the 26th of March at the council. And then, of course, it's the run-up to the election, and the local politicians feel it may get kicked into the long grass as a result. Now, these people told our reporter Tony Fisher that they have no confidence in either the government or the NHS.
This sort of government body, HCA, they are a bit of a problem, we do feel.
Well, they're not even aware that they're holding this covenant, so...
No, they're probably not, because they're so inept. They're a government body, so...
Well, you've got two problems. You've got the HCA and you've got the NHS, so...
They're both inept, aren't they?
So do you see any future for Willen surgery? Do you think it's going to be reopened?
I certainly hope it will be opened. We definitely need the surgery. It was disgraceful the way it was just closed overnight.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Having a look at the M1 northbound, one lane's closed here. There's been an accident involving a lorry between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. Delay-wise, not looking too bad there, though, at the moment. The A6 Paula Radcliffe Way, you've got a lane closure in both directions at Clapham Road. The A40 Oxford Road, also a lane closure in both directions through the roadworks at Archway. Do expect delays if you're heading that way. And buses replace trains on Chiltern Railway between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Bratz for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Paula, what have you done with Sammy Bruff?
I've captured her. I wanted to go at getting up at 4.
Flipping heck, it's getting nasty at the travel centre.
I know.
Have we got you all morning?
Dog over here.
Oh, blimey. Well, go in. Yes, thank you. People often ask me, how do you get to work in radio? Well, it turns out you have to kidnap somebody. Hey, have you seen that brilliant film? And do you know what? I'm going to treat myself to it on DVD. The Robert De Niro and Jerry Lewis, the King of Comedy.
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, let me do the news, and then we'll discuss one of the greatest Robert De Niro films of all time. Just bear with me. Hang on.
Three Counties Radio.
Oh, I missed it. That was the end of the news. So, I beg your pardon?
Nothing.
Sorry, your microphone wasn't off, Kelly, but I heard a little bit of bleed through from Catherine's mic. I heard your voice, I saw your lips move, and I could have sworn you said you're a plum.
No, I said I've got a plum.
And why are you pointing to your...
No, I've got
downstairs.
in my bag, I've got fruit, and in there is a plum.
Okay. Can I see the plum?
Yeah, let me... it's here. Yeah.
Okay, fair play. So, Robert De Niro, Jerry Lewis...
Yes.
Sounds annoying. It is.
Yeah.
Early 80s, directed by Scorsese.
Oh.
King of Comedy. Jerry Lewis plays a chat show host. Robert De Niro plays a completely mental loser.
Wow, in a break from the norm.
No.
He always plays that person.
No, a completely mental loser who thinks he's wants to be a stand-up comedian, and he keeps trying to get on Jerry Lewis's chat show. Jerry Lewis is like... That's not bad.
Yep.
Oh, Dean! Right. Yeah. So he kidnaps Jerry Lewis.
Oh.
And holds him hostage. Sandra Bernhardt holds him hostage, and he can only be released when Robert De Niro goes on his TV show and does stand-up comedy routine. It is brilliant.
Does he end up being great?
No, he ends up going to prison.
Okay.
It is brilliant. King of Comedy. 08459, and this is the only phone-in we're doing this morning, please. Your memories of the King of Comedy. 08459 455 555.
I'd like to see that.
It's good. I'm going to buy...
the phone-in, though.
Sorry?
I want to do a different phone-in.
What?
Well, the space scientist men are looking for special permission to broadcast in space to try and get hold of the aliens who like radio.
Who are they looking for permission from?
The public.
Oy, that's going to be tough. There's a lot of them.
They've not asked me yet.
No.
I'm going to consider my position.
Well,
should we be contacting these guys? We know they've got form for, like, taser guns and all that.
Well, some of those alien women have got 3 boobs and have never kissed a man. What is this kiss you talk of, Captain?
Captain Kirk was always really helpful with that, wasn't he?
He was really promoting safe sex through the stars.
Space sex.
How's that song coming along, Kels?
You haven't asked me for a song.
It doesn't like this file. There's something wrong with that song.
No.
Hang on. I didn't realise that you wanted me to get
thought you were... Oh.
No, I've been getting it, and it keeps saying, no, you can't play this.
Oh, dear.
So, I don't think you can play it.
Let's have a scene.
Well, all right, Kelly, you have a CC.
Yeah.
Catherine, can you get AC/DC, Highway to Hell?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
No, Back in Black. You choose.
I don't know, you choose. What's that?
I think it means you too.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No,
Get
you two. Flipping heck.
Every weekday from 3.
Let's talk about your story. They're little globules of it's chocolate. What is that sticking out of that?
That's the abdomen of the ant.
Roberto Perroni.
Film critic Richard Fitzwilliams, welcome to the programme. Richard, will you be watching Rambo 5?
They are unsubtle, they are silly, and they do not appeal.
Overweight people are being ignored, humiliated and insulted on a regular basis.
When you're in the supermarkets, people watching what you're picking up and passing comments.
Can I ask you, Claudette, what does it cost to have a cycle of IVF when you decide, well, I have to have children?
It all totalled to nearly £25,000. When you're in such a low and desperate place, you'll do anything.
Roberto Perroni on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Faders set to stun. Set faders to stun. Do you get it?
Yes, Captain.
Now, I haven't heard this song for about 13 years, and I was probably very, very drunk at the time, so fingers crossed it stands the test of time. It's good already, huh? G-Love?
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
A little bit of special sauce?
we go.
Baby, you're beat up, broken down. Every man knows your name in this whole damn town. And every bar, they know you drink. What should I think? I turn around and look, and your gaze will do the wink. I thought I'd feel happy with a woman like you, but you walked on my pride and my manhood too. I don't know too much, but one thing I know, a man stuck on you is like a stepping stone. Cause you keep using me just like a stepping stone. You keep using me just like a stepping stone. You keep using me like a stepping stone. You keep using me for a stepping stone. What you forgot to mention, what was your real intention? Did you want a man to love, or someone to prop and carry you up to a higher status? But the matter of fact is that your detachment will bring you further down. And now you're all used up, don't bother coming round. Cause you keep using me just like a stepping stone. You keep using me just like a stepping stone. You keep using me like a stepping stone. You keep using me for a stepping Well, I remember way back to what you put me through. I keep thinking to myself, what's wrong with you? Ain't it enough to have a man for a lover and a friend? Tear him up and leave when his money's spent. Well, you just like Delilah sitting in a dance. You take the strongest man and break it down again. But I have gained some knowledge. Go on, pack your things and move on back to college. You keep using me just like a stepping stone. You keep using me just like a stepping stone. You keep using me like a stepping stone. Don't get confusing me for a stepping stone. Yeah. Wait. Like a stepping stone. Wait. Just like a stepping stone.
That was worth the hassle, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, was that a good song? Thank you.
You keep using me like a stepping stone. You keep confusing me like a stepping stone. You got confusing me like a stepping stone.
So there's bits where Robert De Niro's practicing doing stand-up comedy in his bedroom, right?
Oh, gosh.
And he's got a tape recorder that's got laughter and applause on, and he plays that when he does a gag. And then as he's doing it, you hear a voice in the background. And he's doing his stand-up in his bedroom. And then he turns the tape recorder off, and you can hear his mum going, "Will you stop making that racket in your... Mum, I'm doing my comedy!" It's such a good film. Guys?
No, it sounds good.
OK. Now, a Luton woman... Your memories, please, of the King of Comedy. That's the only phone-in we're doing this morning. 08459 455 555. A Luton woman claims 3 separate bus drivers refused to pick up her and her grandmother, saying they couldn't accommodate the 80-year-old's wheelchair. Well, this despite the fact that they'd used the same number 1 service to get into town in the first place. Well, Ewan Duncan has been speaking to Jade Pieri.
We were refused initially by 2 drivers, one after the other, saying how we couldn't get on the bus because there was no disabled access. And I put my point across saying, well, we got on the bus to town, the exact same bus, They still persisted to tell me no, and then a third driver decided to say the same. So we ended up having to get in a taxi, and it's just as well we had the money. Otherwise, we would have been walking her up a hill in a wheelchair.
How did that make you feel?
Very angry. I was shaking and crying and trying to be calm, but it just wasn't happening.
And the drivers just wouldn't budge?
No, they were quite adamant that I wasn't allowed on the bus with her unless I could get her out, but sometimes she forgets to walk because of her dementia, so I couldn't get her out.
Did your grandmother realise what was happening?
No, she was a little bit of oblivious to what was happening because she lived in a little bubble.
And what did you do then?
I called Arriva to put in a complaint, and they said they'd review it and come back to me. They first come back to me apologising for what had happened and told me it shouldn't have happened, and they would reimburse me for the taxi fare. They then come back to me again saying that they weren't going to do that, and the buses wouldn't be disabled access until 2016, which infuriated me even more, which is why I just want to make people aware of this, because it's just horrible. People shouldn't have to go through it. I think everywhere should be disabled friendly. If you can't get a wheelchair in there, then it's not exactly very functional for anybody, especially around here.
How inconvenient was it to get a taxi back?
It's very inconvenient. It's just as well that I had help from somebody else, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself, because it's trying to carry a person and struggle with a wheelchair at the same time. It's just impossible to do by yourself.
Now you're hoping that some good will come out of this, in that Arriva may get some new buses?
Yeah, definitely. Even if it's just one bus on this route, it's just better than nothing. Something's better than nothing.
And is this the first time it had happened to you? Had you come across this before?
I've never come across this before. That's why I was so shocked, because I thought it was the law that at least one bus on the route had to be disabled friendly. When they turned around to me and told me there wasn't, I was quite annoyed and upset and couldn't understand why.
And what's been the reaction of your family?
They were even worse than I was. They just think it's discrimination on disabled people, because it's not just my grandma, it's for everybody in a wheelchair really. If they can't get on the bus when they want to, well, how are they supposed to travel out and do anything?
And it's up a steep hill to get to your address, so it makes it very difficult if you haven't got transport.
Yeah, if we didn't have transport, the only way up to bringing her home would be up a hill, and they're all very steep and narrow, and it would just be a nightmare.
Have you ever tried to push somebody in a wheelchair up a hill?
No, it's bad enough with a pushchair. I can only imagine an adult.
Flippin' heck, it's enough hard work. We're going to speak to Jade later on, as well as Lindsay Frostick from Arriva.
That's right, yeah.
That's the plan, Stan. 08459 455 555. Let's get a bit of Trav.
Women in underwear that look nice.
That's a true fact. Simon says my neck is going to hurt in 3 minutes. He's been giving it that, hasn't he?
Of course he has. Quite
been
right,
giving
too.
that, Kels. Giving it a little bit of that. Yeah? Yeah? A little bit of that.
A little bit of that.
But headbanging, that song. That's called headbanging, that dance.
Have you ever watched someone's face when they're headbanging?
Yeah. Oh, I can't really see it.
No, you have to go underneath them.
Okay. Wow.
I'm small, isn't it? So.
Okay, so everyone's like kind of headbanging over you,
me, yeah.
whereas they're headbanging beneath me.
Yeah.
God, no, I haven't. I really haven't.
You missed
Don't
out.
tell me what it looks like.
I won't.
I'm gonna YouTube it. We don't experience things anymore. We just YouTube it or Wikipedia it. There's no experience. There's no life experience. There's no research. We YouTube it. We Wikipedia it, or we film it to upload it to YouTube. People don't go to concerts and enjoy the moment of the concert. They go and film it on their phones. Now, yes, I have.
But it's annoying being the person behind that person.
It is annoying because then you end up watching it through the screen because of the way our brains are trained to watch through screens like that. If I go to a concert, I will allow myself to film one tiny little bit as a souvenir. For example, last time I saw Brian Wilson, I filmed "God Only Knows." It's my favourite song. It's a little bit of that. But to get people there that film the whole.
What's the point? Buy the DVD, it's better.
Remember it in your brain, experience it, and remember it through your brain holes.
I used to film a lot more than I do now. I can't be bothered apart from anything else. And you end up with loads of footage that you never watch again.
No. What do you think? Like, you're girls, aren't you? I know you are, Catherine. We've not got the results back from the laboratory for you yet, Kelly, but I'm going to assume that you are.
Okay, thanks.
And then, if not, we can delete this from iPlayer. Are you going to be voting in the election? Are you a fan of voting in general?
I've never voted before.
Wowzers, OK. Would you be inspired to vote by a pink minibus?
No.
OK, well, that failed then. Have you seen the pink?
Yeah, I find it annoying.
Why do you... Now, I
find it annoying with anything. You know, when they think, oh, well, how do we make girls get into Lego? Oh, let's give them pink bricks. Like, that's how you find out what women want. Have what men want and then paint it pink.
This was in Stevenage yesterday. And the male's having a bit of a laugh. Harriet Harperson, big idea, is slammed by men and women. Now, what's being ignored with the whole... What's annoying me about this whole thing is everyone's looking at the pink bus and going, oh, isn't it silly? They're not actually going... Oh, so why don't more women vote?
Yeah.
So that whole issue, and this article is written by a woman, Natalie Clark. So the whole issue of this comes from actually a good place, a good idea of finding out why women don't vote and encouraging them then to vote, and that whole issue is being completely pushed to the side because we're going to the pink bus.
I know. Well, it was a silly thing to do, wasn't it? I mean, I know that they were trying to get attention. They got attention. It was the wrong kind of attention.
And the woman driving it stalled it. So, that's true, that's not a gag, that's actually true. Half a mile away from the Asda in Stevenage.
It is a shame, you're right, but I just don't like this whole pinkification of stuff. And do you know what? Sometimes you pay more for something that's pink.
Yeah, that's true. The Nintendo DS is more. It's like another 20 quid more for a pink one, isn't it?
Come on.
It's crazy. Is anybody buying this pink bus? It just seems... I don't understand at what point in the meeting someone went, do we really think pink is that a little patronising? Girls, guys?
I wonder how many women were in the meeting.
455 555.
The thought process was it was going to be a red. It was going to be Labour red, and then they thought it just looks like every other red van. So then they went for a darker colour, and then it didn't stand out.
How many red vans do you? I don't think.
Postman Pat's.
Oh, fair play. Fair play. Postman Blooming Pat has ruined it for women. The slogan "Woman to Woman," which has the ring of a sanitary towel logo about it, was dreamt up by Miss De Piero, Gloria De Piero. It's a shame because the important issue of, hey chicks, why don't you go and put a little tick in your box? That's being ignored.
Gosh, why didn't they call you?
Exactly, I'd have sorted it out. You need Dealey at the polling station.
No,
that will get the women down there.
No.
I'm really worried about Dealey.
Why?
Well, you know, there's this whole thing about the new 50 Shades of Grey film, which has not had very good reviews.
Apparently, it's hilarious, unintentionally.
I mean, if you want to watch a film about bondage, come and have a chat with me. But Dealey is... Well, first of all, Dealey was trying to organise a lads' trip to 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
So me, him, Scott, Scoinsey, Oxley... the Ox, as Justin was calling him, Lockers. He wants us all to go down there and watch the film. And I said, that's not going to happen. He said, come on, Iain, it'll be mayhem. It'll be mayhem. I said, that's not going to happen, mate. But he's
You know why he really wants you all to go? Because he's going to go and stand outside, isn't he?
Yeah, well,
he's going to go in on his own. He's frightened of going in on his own.
I think he wants to do the popcorn trick, but also, more importantly, is he's going to go and see the film at the weekend and interview women as they come out of the cinema.
Yeah.
And I'm just worried what he's going to...
Well...
He said... No, just picture the scene. So it's an evening show, 50 Shades of Grey. All these women are coming out. They're soaking wet with sweat pouring down their heads, and I'm gonna grab them and get their views on the street. It worries me.
I think he just wants to be next to a woman while they're watching a film like that.
While they're watching a film?
I think he's frightened to be outnumbered. There's my theory.
What you got in the papers?
All manner of stuff. Well, speaking of 50 Shades, and
it's everywhere,
to be honest,
isn't it?
I've read 1.5 books. So what's that about? It's not 50 Shades. Probably about 39. But to be honest, they're all shades of the same thing.
Yeah. He's called Christian Grey, yeah? That's what the grey comes from?
Yeah.
OK, and he's a pervert, yeah?
Well...
I've never read it.
He's complicated, he's controlling. I find him quite annoying.
I heard a brilliant review of the whole ethos of the book and the film at the weekend, and the start I thought, she's just like a feminist idiot. But then she went on, I thought, well, having not read the book, she might have a point. Apparently he stalks a virgin in this book, does he? She's a virgin, a young virgin, he's an older man, and he stalks her and coerces her into kinky sex.
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, he's very charismatic and everything, but he tells her off for things like biting her lip and sort of it's suggesting that by doing that you're asking for it. I mean,
hang on a second. I mean, have we not seen some of the Utree court cases that have been going through the papers recently? So he's a bit of controlling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's got a twisted past, and it's not his fault. She feels sorry for him, but she's the one having her bottom smacked. So I mean.
But there's a local and vocal one.
There's a guy in Hemel who featured in the Sun too, page 39. If you're interested, you may know this man. For most fans of 50 Shades of Grey, the world of sexually controlling Christian is nothing more than a fantasy. But for one man, it's every bit of a reality.
Yeah.
Meet Pedro Rebelo, a real-life Christian Grey.
Pedro!
Finance broker by day. And he's into that other stuff by night. There's a picture of him here, and he rates himself. If you know this man...
well, if you are Pedro
point and laugh, I would suggest.
What's his name? Pedro Diablo?
Rebelo.
Rebelo Diablo. Yeah, if you're listening, 08459 455 555. He claims to have encouraged, indoctrinated,
converted
over 300 women.
I would suggest if you managed to rack up 350, maybe your quality control is pretty low.
Yeah. He's
Be a bit choosy, Pedro. Make yourself feel special.
Hey, there's a thing in the mail, right? A pregnant woman was booted off of an aeroplane. She was 35 weeks, 35 weeks pregnant.
I didn't think...
But this is what I wanted to ask. I didn't think you were allowed? I didn't think you were allowed to fly in the third trimester.
I didn't think so either.
35 weeks pregnant. How long is a normal pregnancy?
40.
So that's close.
Yeah.
35 weeks pregnant mother is humiliated on packed holiday jet. A heavily pregnant woman was forced to undergo a humiliating medical examination on a packed plane to prove she was fit to fly. Kerry Dean was horrified when staff on the Thompson's flight ordered her to the front of the plane in front of passengers to be checked by two doctors in an area where food is prepared. Now, it doesn't... I'm sure it wasn't a full internal examination. The doctor... here we go. Oh, well, OK. The women doctors took her blood pressure, checked her bump before carrying out an intrusive examination. Is it that? I mean, what, can you do that in the plane's front galley? Well, her front galley, it would appear. And then they were chucked off the plane.
But you know this as a pregnant woman, don't you? You have regular midwife visits. You would have a conversation with her about it, wouldn't you?
And she'd flown out the week before. Why was she allowed to fly out the week before?
Maybe people felt that they couldn't ask her before. Maybe they...
You go with these big companies, she said, because you think they have procedures, but it means nothing. It's crazy. The whole situation shows how you have no rights. We cannot protect ourselves.
Your holiday insurance, your travel insurance, surely there's something on there.
Oh, hang on. Thompson, whose rules state a woman can fly up to 36 weeks pregnant, has distanced itself from the incident, claiming that the flight was operated by a third party.
Well, then they've got different rules.
You've got different... It just seems a little bit silly. You're not supposed to fly when you're that much pregnant.
Gosh, why would you want to?
Can the air pressure bring on a baby?
But also, you don't want to be that far away from home, do you?
From land.
Yeah.
08459, you know the rest. Oh, no. We'll have that in a second.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We've still got a lane closed on the M1 northbound after an accident between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. It looks like there may be a fuel spillage there as well. M1 southbound, that's looking very slow around junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road. M25 anti-clockwise, very slow at the moment between junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. A40 Oxford Road, of course, you've got that lane closure in both directions. Do expect some delays through these roadworks at Archway. Having a look now at your trains, buses replace trains on Chiltern Railway between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Brett for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Paula. Right, it's 6:46. It's Thursday, the 12th of February. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Over 100 residents attended a meeting in Milton Keynes last night to demand the reopening of a doctor's surgery, which closed down suddenly almost 2 years ago. The highest speed recorded on a 40 miles per hour road in 2014 was 150 miles per hour on the A10 right here in Hertfordshire. And a Luton carer is expressing her anger after 3 bus drivers refused to let her and her wheelchair-bound grandmother on a bus, despite the fact they'd taken the same service into the town. Let's get the weather. Here's Alina.
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning to you, Ian. More of the same today. Another cloudy day, mainly dry. Can't rule out the odd spot of drizzle, but that will be the exception rather than the rule. Temperatures at the moment around 2 or 3 Celsius. Given the extensive cloud cover, they won't get much higher than 4 or 5 today. Dry for the first part of the night, but that cloud keeping temperatures fairly close to daytime values, so 2 or 3 Celsius the low tonight. Later in the night, we'll start to see some showers pushing across from the southwest, and that sets us up for a more unsettled day tomorrow. A strengthening south or southwesterly wind. There'll be some showers around in the morning, and they'll give way to a more persistent band of rain in the afternoon. Some of that could be heavy at times. That noticeable south or southwesterly wind pushing some milder air across, so the thermometer will probably read 8 or 9 Celsius, although it may not feel that way in the wind and the rain. A few showers still lingering overnight, but then for much of the weekend we return to our mainly dry but often cloudy theme, but temperatures will be up on what we've seen this week at around 7 or 8 Celsius.
The FA Cup on the BBC.
Oh my goodness me! Redmond have scored a 4th goal!
Get carried away with the cup.
It is the best cup competition in the world.
The FA Cup, back and bigger than ever on the BBC. Continues on Sunday from 12:30 with Aston Villa versus Leicester City.
Surely that's it! Can you believe it?
Followed on Monday night at 7:45 by Preston North End against Manchester United.
People say, why do we get carried away with the FA Cup? It's because it turns up nights like this.
Live on BBC One and BBC One HD.
Dealey.
Hey, boss, good morning to you.
Yeah, listen. I'm worried about you, mate.
Why?
And I'm worried about the integrity of this programme.
Why?
I'm worried about standards.
Just get to the point. Why?
You want to do a 50 Shades of Grey special.
Yeah.
Do you not think you're dragging us down? This is a high-class show, mate. 3 awards, 12 months, and 2 of
Which
those awards...
I'm very much a part of, but yeah, carry on.
2 of those awards are important ones as well.
Yeah, I know.
And you are dragging us down to the gutter level of the... and I just worry,
I'm
Justin.
confused. I'll tell you why. Because this, of course, is one of the most talked-about films of all time.
Well, I don't know about
yes,
all time.
you know...
If it talked about, read hyped.
Yes, OK, fact, not fiction there. And secondly, a few weeks ago, weren't you on Twitter saying, I'm going to be doing a few movie reviews on Twitter, guys. Look out for my movie reviews.
That was being sarcastic, mate.
No, it wasn't. You meant that, and now you've got the chance to go and review one of the most topical films, and once again, all mouth, no trousers.
Well, that's why I don't want to go and see it. That's the plot.
We need to go and review this film. We need to let the people know what it's like, because there'll be lots of men out there who could be dragged along to go and see this film. So it's up to us to give the man's perspective.
Oh. Where and when are you going?
Well, I can go whenever you want to. You let me know when you're free, and we can go along. I was planning to go this weekend. I can watch it twice if you want to. I was going to go with my girlfriend this weekend. I can go with you next week.
I'm not going with you. I'm not going with you and your girlfriend.
No, I'm saying I can go this weekend with my girlfriend. Next week I can go with you. You name the time and the place, and I'll be there.
Twice, but just for you.
Well, okay. Well, I was available this weekend. So, but no, I am. I was going to say, if you want to go and see it Sunday, I'll go and see it Sunday with you. But you're going to go out with Mrs. Dealey.
Yes.
Okay, you can't bump her or anything?
I don't know, I mean, she's listening right now. I mean, this is getting slightly awkward.
Mrs. Dealey, could you take a hit for the team? And I say that with the greatest respect. I know you're a talented performer and entertainer. You know it's your showbiz, baby.
I bet she doesn't want to see it. It's all him.
It's all me, guys. Yes, and you're telling me that the real life Mr. Grey lives in Hemel Hempstead?
Well, he's telling us that.
All right. Well, listen. If you want to do it on the show, then I will go and see it with you.
Easily convinced there. A little bit too easily convinced.
Such a plum. What are we going to send this Muppet out on today?
Aliens?
Excuse me.
Should we be contacting them?
It's either Helena Bonham Carter having it away with a tuna,
fish.
or there are 2 things, Justin. I'm going to let you decide. Okay.
Okay.
So the first one I've got is cheap roses for Valentine's Day. First of all, why would anybody buy roses for Valentine's? Unless you're a 15-year-old boy with a crush on one of your teachers, there is no point in doing it.
I don't like red ones anyway, they're common.
Oh, my goodness.
I like yellow ones.
If you get your roses from Interflora, a dozen red roses, £45.
No.
Next one, Marks & Spencer's £12. Lidl, £3.
What's your beef here?
Sorry?
What's your beef with red roses on Valentine's Day?
Catherine,
the romantic flower.
Well, that's it.
Romantic flower.
It's a marketing ploy. There are more beautiful flowers. There are flowers that actually smell of something.
You idiot.
And
It's true, though.
Such an idiot.
And they whack the price up for suckers with no imagination. Yeah, that's what I think.
It's the flower of love. End of story. Okay, next.
So there's that. There's something in Valentine's because that's coming up in two. That's Saturday.
Yep.
And Roses, Catherine, you've got one about aliens.
Yes.
What's the alien?
We're going to be talking about it in an hour's time. That they are looking to reach out to the aliens with our radio broadcasts. Not ours. Probably ours.
The aliens really want to know what was number one this weekend in the States in 1967.
Listen to my show.
Nice sip.
Yeah.
But
what's that thing he does with the the letters that Wally Webb plays? That's going to blow their tiny alien mind.
No, they'll get it straight away because they're a highly evolved species.
That's true.
So we could ask, whether it's a waste of time. And whether you're worried about them responding to our calls.
I would love to make contact with aliens because, no, seriously, we know they're out there.
We do know that.
And you mentioned about music there. I would love to have a conversation. What are these guys listening to up there?
What are their musical memories?
Exactly.
They are quite groovy. I saw this documentary called Barbarella.
I never get past the first 15 minutes in that film.
It's a brilliant film.
The first 15 minutes is cracking. So, Just, it's up to you. What do you fancy?
I'll do both for you.
Dealy.
I'm back with a bang.
He's feeling confident.
Fella, we'll speak to you later on.
Take care.
Thank you, mate. Ta-ta. Kelly Betts.
Hello.
He's really made me laugh, which is a minor miracle this morning. Thank you, Justin. Well, BBC Introducing, as we know, features jazz, Dixieland, classical music, and the important thing to remember, Catherine, I don't know if you know this, that even Gary Barlow and the Beatles were unknown at one point.
You're kidding me?
No, they were unknown at one point in their careers. That's why we have BBC Introducing, isn't it? So that we can go back in time and rediscover the Beatles.
We get unsigned bands played all across the BBC, whether it be on their local radio station or nationally.
Catherine's just being a little bit sick. You carry on.
Oh, sorry,
I'm
Kath.
emotional.
Sorry to hear that. This track that we're about to play has been added to our 3 Counties playlist all week, and next week it will be on One Extra's playlist all week as well.
And it's from
it to them.
John Lennon.
You may not have heard of this guy. It's called Please Please Me, and it's by these Beatles. It's not. It's Amber Simone.
Yes, she's 18. She's from Kings Langley, and she sounds like this.
Everything right, something wrong with my body. Don't tell me it's alright. On control, stop living for the weekend. She's a devil in disguise, like a serpent in the night. Oh baby, you got me dancing, got me sipping when I see you with you. And I only felt it when you touched on her body. I took her heart out of mine. So don't go throwing arrows at me, 'cause I know you've been touching her body. Don't leave a man to come and hold me. No. I'm falling, I can take it. I'm falling, I can take it. My chains to you ain't breaking, and I'm damaged by your poison. Got me thinking it must be different. Sometimes memories die. Yeah, she don't love you, just trying to redo that part of her life. Baby, got me dancing, got me sipping when I see her with you. I only felt it when you touched on her body. I took her heart out of mine. So I'm damaged by your poison.
That is Amber Simone, and where is she from?
She's from Kings Langley.
That is a good tune. I'm liking it. Bit like Jackson. Bit like, and when I say Jackson, I mean Michael, not Tito.
Yeah.
Distinctive voice.
I think her vocal's a bit Nina Simone-ish.
I would say a little bit blokish in the vocal department, but that is no bad thing at all. There's not a criticism in the slightest.
No.
That is just me highlighting what my ears are telling me.
You can hear her on One Extra all next week if you fancy tuning in.
I can't do that, but I'm sure there'll be some young people that would like to. Thank you, Kelly Betts. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
News for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
M1 northbound, one lane remain closed here still after an accident between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. It looks like there might be a fuel spillage there. Very slow moving queues as you come past that lane closure. A1 queuing in both directions now through the roadworks between the Black Cat roundabout with queues to St Neots. M1 southbound slow from the Luton Airport Spur Road to junction 9 for Redbourne. A5 southbound, we've got slow moving queues between Lynch Hill and Luton Road. M25 anti-clockwise queuing between junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40, and buses replace trains between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Brett for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Paula. Right, coming up, Aliens and Roses. 08459 455 555.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: continued anger over closure of Milton Keynes doctor's surgery, highest speed on 40 miles per hour road recorded in Hertfordshire, and dispute over disabled access to buses in Luton.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Over 100 residents attended a meeting in Milton Keynes last night to demand the reopening of a doctor's surgery which closed down suddenly almost 2 years ago. Since the Willan surgery closed, the pressure on neighbouring practices has led to patients waiting longer than the national average for appointments. These people say it's vital it reopens.
I'd say for the community it's very important.
Yeah, definitely, and for Milton Keynes as a whole, because the other surgeries are oversubscribed.
We definitely need the surgery. It was disgraceful the way it was just closed overnight.
Britain's worst speeding offenders in 2014 have been revealed, with the highest speed on a 40 miles per hour road recorded in Hertfordshire. A driver was caught doing 115 miles per hour on the A10 Great Cambridge Road in Cheshunt. The highest speeds recorded were two cases of 146 miles per hour on the M25 in Kent. The figures have been compiled by the Institute of Advanced Motorists following a Freedom of Information request. The Labour leader, Ed Miliband, is to set out a new pledge for primary schools today that no child aged 7 or under will be taught in a class of more than 30 for more than a year. Meanwhile, the UKIP leader, Nigel Farage, is launching his party's general election campaign with a speech in Essex today. Over 20 firefighters dealt with a house fire in the Buckinghamshire village of Ascot near Princess Risborough last night. Paramedics treated a woman who was suffering from the effects of breathing in smoke. A Luton carer is expressing her anger after 3 bus drivers refused to let her and her wheelchair-bound grandmother on, despite the fact they'd taken the same service into the town. Jade Pieri says she and 80-year-old Gladys Croft had to take a taxi back to their Farley Hill home. The bus company Arriva says all routes will be wheelchair accessible by April, but Jade says she was shocked.
I was shaking and crying and trying to be calm, but it just weren't happening. They were quite adamant that I wasn't allowed on the bus with her unless I could get her out, but sometimes she forgets to walk because of her dementia, so I couldn't get her out.
Official guidance is being issued about the use of hidden cameras to monitor how people are looked after in hospitals and care homes. The Care Quality Commission has produced a pamphlet that sets out what relatives need to consider, but care home owners say they're worried that hidden cameras could undermine the trust between families and staff. Extra police patrols are taking place in Bedford after a spate of thefts from cars. Bedfordshire Police say the peak theft areas include the De Paris, Harper, Poets, Midland Road, Town Centre and Castle areas. In sport, Chelsea are still 7 points clear at the top of the Premier League after a 1-0 win over Everton. There were also wins for Manchester City and Manchester United, and struggling Aston Villa have sacked manager Paul Lambert. The weather, a dry day but cloudy and cold with an odd bright interval possible, a maximum temperature 5 degrees Celsius, and you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. What a terrible night's sleep. Thought I was going to be violently ill in the middle of it. It was horrible. I woke up about 1 o'clock with the sweats, the stomach cramps. So if I'm sounding a little sluggish, that is why. Lots coming up on the show this morning. Willen surgery. Wheelchairs on buses. Are you excited by 50 Shades of Grey? Roses, are they a bit naff? And aliens.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
We're talking about 50 Shades of Grey. It's now looking likely that I might go with Justin Dealey to see it, although he's going this weekend with Mrs. Dealey.
Yeah.
And if I go and see a film, I want to see it straight away. I don't want to mess around. I want to go in there and see it before everyone talks about it too much. And Justin said he's obsessed with it. He said it was the most talked about film of all time. Well, that's a lie.
Yeah.
And Jill has emailed in saying to say that it's the most talked about movie, I disagree. Gone with the Wind was more talked about. The making, I can't see it. Oh, hang on a second. It's badly written erotica. Although a tongue-in-cheek movie about the writer having a laugh about how they can get bad erotic literature into print could be done. It's basically saying that it looks like a load of old rubbish, which it does.
But fair enough, she's made quite a lot of money out of it, so, fair play to her, but I found it dull.
Come and see the film with us. Come and see the film with me this weekend. Would that be weird? Would that be weird? A male and female colleague going to see
50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey together?
Me, you and Justin.
It'd be weird if he was there. And we're talking about the roses. There's this thing in the papers.
I mean, how much tutting can you bear during a movie? Because that's what would be happening.
Tutting, that's what it is it? Right. Interflora, £45 for a dozen red roses. That is quite expensive. I mean, you're getting the delivery as well. But
it's lazy. Red roses are lazy.
I don't like getting flowers delivered to me because you've then got to do stuff. You've got to cut bits off.
Yeah, and when do you get flowers? When you're busy, right? You've just had a baby.
Yeah.
Really? I've got to get the vase out and cut the ends off this?
Send me muffins, please.
Yeah, or someone's died. The last thing you want to do is be I don't know, maybe in that scenario, do you want a distraction?
No, I don't want flowers. No, because you know what happens? The flowers die. And then you're reminded of Dad or Nana or whoever dying again.
One of the smells I cannot stand is when you walk back
And I'm sorry about that. That was an accident.
When you walk back into the house, because I get back home about lunchtime.
Yeah.
Walk into a closed house, empty house, and the water in the flowers has gone off, and there's a low fug of this kind of off water. I can't bear that smell. It makes me want to throw up.
The cheapest 12 red roses, Lidl, £3. But I just think they're naff. I think it shows a lack of imagination.
I do.
If you're a 15-year-old lad buying flowers for your first girlfriend or your girl you fancy, I can kind of see it because you're brought up to believe that that's kind of romantic and stuff like that.
And if you're mullered in a nightclub, and this woman comes round with the roses. It's, nice now and again. But, flipping heck, really? How well do you know this person?
Justin is suggesting that he goes to see 50 Shades of Grey and you and I go to see 50 Shades of Grey. Two different perspectives, #gold. Also really weird, I can't... Catherine and I are not going to go and see 50 Shades of Grey together. That would be weird.
I could sit further back.
That's not quite so weird, actually.
Exactly. I think it's all sitting beside each other. It'd be like watching... Tell you what I did watch with my dad once, and it was the most uncomfortable... It seemed to go on forever. Have you seen Don't Look Now?
No, is that Julie Christie?
Yeah, there's a really long scene with Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
And they are a mum and dad in it. And it was proper sort of, he's beardy, and it was, and my dad was pretending to read the newspaper. The newspaper rustled now and again. And I was thinking, when will this end? Yeah. Can I leave the room? I just felt, I felt my blood.
So you're saying that watching a film with me will be like watching a film with your dad?
Yeah.
Flippin' heck. 08459 455 555. Who is actually going to go and see this? Who's going to go and see this film?
The same people who are going to spend 45 quid on a dozen red roses.
Yeah, I suppose it'll be middle-aged, middle-class couples who think they're being a little bit naughty. In a room full of the same people. And then, and they've got their gaffer tape and their cable ties in their bag and...
or big groups of girls.
Because it's not porn. Because if you want porn, you go and get that online. You can go and get that. You can get the real stuff. It's not a rom-com, is it? There's no comedy in it.
Well, I think inadvertently it's going to be hilarious.
It's not a romantic film. I don't know what you would classify it as.
Titillation.
Oh dear, you had to, didn't you? 08459 455 555. Oh. Now, thousands... Sorry, I keep hitting the wrong button. Hang on a second. We'll do it in a minute. Thousands of people across Milton Keynes are struggling to get GP appointments and to see a doctor following the sudden closure of a surgery in Willem. April, 2 years ago, patients turning up for appointments at the village surgery found the doors locked and the post backing up. They were given places elsewhere, but NHS England says at least 5 are now experiencing waiting times in excess of the national 1-week average. There was a meeting last night about the future of the original practice.
Not good for us because we moved to a surgery that was, 2 or 3 miles away, so we couldn't walk there or anything like that. We're fortunate we don't have to visit very often, but, it's not a good service, and of course the doctors won't come out that far if you're not well.
Well, there are older people who live quite near to Willen surgery. It was very convenient for them, but now they've got to go several miles and arrange their own transport in most cases.
So how important is it to get this surgery back?
I'd say for the community it's very important.
Yeah, definitely, and for Milton Keynes as a whole, because the other surgeries are oversubscribed.
Well, that was our reporter Tony Fisher at the meeting last night, joined now by Emily Darlington, who is Labour's parliamentary candidate for Milton Keynes. Morning, Emily.
Good morning, Ian.
Bring us up to speed. Where are we with this now?
Well, we're sort of at the crunch point. We've got probably about a month left to make some really crucial decisions. There's 2 things happening. One is the community, the parish council, is trying to save the site, the actual physical site that was always designated as a medical site. So we need the Homes and Community Agency to say we will protect that covenant and we will keep it as a GP surgery.
Oh, so there is a possibility, that could be knocked down and a block of flats built there or something?
Or anything.
Right.
I mean, it's up for sale right now. It's with the receivers. It's up for sale. But there is a covenant on that site. So if the Homes and Community Agency protects that, then we can keep it for a GP site. And then the second thing that we need to do is absolutely convince NHS England and the guys in Westminster that Milton Keynes needs GPs and we need a GP in Willen.
How bad is it for former patients of Willen? Some of them are struggling quite a bit, aren't they?
Oh, it's awful. I mean, the number of people I've spoken to, many of them disabled or older, and there's the way Milton Keynes is constructed, it's not a direct line for bus routes and others to these other surgeries. So often they're having to take 2-3 buses. If they're unable to do that, they're actually spending money on taxis to do it. And it's money that they can't afford, really.
The meeting last night, who was there and what happened?
So last night, hundreds of residents. We also had the gentleman that's working with the Campbell Park Parish Council to protect the site. He's a local resident. He's a property developer, but he's using his knowledge as a property developer to help the parish council to do the site. And also one of the managing people from Newport Pagnell Medical Surgery, who have always offered since day one that they would use it as a satellite site to keep that site open close to residents. So everybody's on the same page locally. There's no dispute. There's no, this is councillors, parish councillors, and myself all absolutely working towards the same goal, but we absolutely need to have those residents' voices heard, and that's what's missing at the moment.
There's an online petition, isn't there? How's that going?
Yeah, there's 2 online petitions. Well, there's one that's been there for a couple months now that goes directly to NHS England, the gentleman at NHS England that's making the decision on whether or not there'll be new GP contracts in Milton Keynes. The second one was started last night. That's going to the HCA to remind them of their duty to protect that covenant, and they're doing really well.
Yeah.
And local people are really getting behind this campaign and have been right from the start, from 2 years back when it was originally closed.
It would be nuts if they did sell it off and got rid of that surgery. But you're saying it's a possibility that could happen?
Yeah, and it's a possibility it could happen in the next few weeks.
Oh, wow, that quickly?
Yeah. Well, it has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
So and obviously the receivers are quite keen to get rid of the land. And of course we've got the pressure of the general election, and that's causing a lot of people either wanting to delay the decision till after the election, but actually myself, the community, the parish councillors, everybody wanting to make sure that the decision happens now.
Emily, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. Keep in touch. Let us know how that goes. Emily Darlington, Labour's parliamentary candidate for Milton Keynes. 08459 455 555. You can text as well. 81333. Start your text 3CR. Catherine, have we got any texters?
Let's have a look. Yes, we have.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much. So, shall we read some?
Well, Maffin Hanslope is suggesting you go to the 4D cinema in Milton Keynes to watch 50 Shades. Get the whole experience.
That's the fourth dimension, of course, is smell and spray. I'm all right. Thank you very much.
There's a massage chair at my hairdresser that I refuse to sit on anymore because it really is.
Where you going, did it?
Well, no. It's
intrusive?
Yes.
I hate massage chairs.
It really does focus on your behind.
And
it feels like there's a small person in there.
At airports
and it's their hand.
It's Kenny Baker, R2D2. Airports and service stations, they have those chairs where you put in £1 and it massages you for 5 minutes. And
you can't get massaged in front of other people.
No, well, they also have those stalls, don't they, where they have a fella will hit your back and you're right, you can't do it in front. It's a very private experience.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in the hairdressers, I have enough of a tough time keeping my eyes open when she starts massaging my head.
Give us one more text and then we'll get some trav.
Jade has got in touch.
Morning, Jade.
You know this guy who reckons he's the real-life Christian Grey?
Yes.
From Hemel.
From Hemel.
Sexy Hemel. She's given us his Twitter handle. It's at Pedders Limited. I've had a look at his Twitter feed. He's an interesting chap. It's not for the faint-hearted.
08459 455.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 northbound still has a lane closed. There was an accident earlier on. We're hearing there's now been a fuel spillage. That's between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. Looking very slow past there at the moment. A1 queuing in both directions through the roadworks at the Black Cat roundabout with queues back to St Neots. M1 southbound queuing here as well from junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road to Redbourne at junction 9. A5 southbound queuing between Lynch Hill and Luton Road, and slow on the M25 anti-clockwise as well between junction 21 for the M1 and 16 for the M40. Buses replace trains on Chiltern Railway between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Brett for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. Oh, we really have to be careful this morning, guys. We're all feeling tired, naughty, and the off-air conversation is very, very blue. So just keep an eye on that red light. If your microphone comes on, stop. Hammer time. Well, don't hammer. 7:17. It's Thursday, the 12th of February. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Over 100 residents attending a meeting in Milton Keynes last night to demand the reopening of a doctor's surgery, which closed down suddenly almost 2 years ago. The highest speed recorded on a 40 miles per hour road in 2014 was on the A10 in Hertfordshire, 115 miles an hour. And a Luton carer is expressing her anger after 3 bus drivers refused to let her and her wheelchair-bound grandmother on, despite the fact they'd taken the same service into town.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every weekday from 12, local people.
Wendy Howson and David Shipley, the trustees of the Harpenden charity Spotlight on Africa.
So privileged to see lives change, conditions change.
Local stories.
A deaf cafe will be popping up in Bedford later this month, opening its doors for you to share sensitive stories and talk of afterlife.
There are people with similar concerns. And you can have a light-hearted side of it as well, and we often end like that, you know.
Local life.
We're going to be heading off into the unassuming countryside of Bedfordshire.
We all know the brick pits and the industrial spoil that's marked the Marston Vale.
Nick Coffer, weekdays from 12 on BBC Three Counties Radio. Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Gosh, well, that gentleman on Twitter really is not the kind of guy I'd like to hang around with.
Also, can you imagine, here's my new boyfriend, Dad. Well, he's on Twitter, why don't you follow him?
Yeah, dearie me. No. We'll have none of that, please. None of that. Very not. What? If you're going to go and see this film, and I realise we are playing into its grubby mitts by even talking about it.
Well, we're not disguising it as news, though, like some places are, like this whole nonsense about B&Q apparently worrying they're going to run out of duct tape and rope. And
great PR work, B&Q.
Exactly. Well, apparently London Fire are worried that there are going to be more call-outs as a result. They're not. I don't believe it. I do not believe it.
So we're not doing that. I just want to know who... I can't imagine who is going to go and see the film. But my mum asks me to take her. That would be wrong, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I'd take her.
That would be weird as well. Why?
It'd be less weird.
No, it would be weird, mate. It'd be weird. You don't know my mum. First of all, you've never met her.
Well, I'll just wheel her in and then I'll pick her up after. She might want to be alone.
Oh... 08459 455. I just don't know who this is aimed at, who is going to go and see it. I mean, obviously
I think it's Girls' Night Out fair.
Oh, so Hens.
Yeah.
Hens going and... Oh, OK, yeah.
Let's go for a drink. Let's treat ourselves. We'll get him to look after the kids, right?
Yeah.
And we'll all go out.
We're going to get some Lambrusco.
Wines, yeah.
Bacardi Breezes.
Yeah. And then we'll go and watch that fruity film.
Yeah.
All together and have a good titter about it.
It doesn't sound like fun. So we're talking about that.
I don't think it's aimed at you. I think that's for sure.
We're talking about that, and also I guess this is kind of linked. This Valentine's thing of sending a dozen red roses for thrifty suitors who believe it is the thought, not the expense that matters. It could be a godsend. With Valentine's Day looming, a supermarket price war has broken out over the traditional favourite statement of love: a dozen red roses.
Oy.
So Marks and Spencer's £12 for a dozen. Interflora £45, Lidl £3.
Have an original thought. How about that? That's romantic.
Well, here's the master of originality from his head, Dave Luton. Dave Luton.
Good morning, boss.
Good morning to you, David.
Hi, it's very nice to talk to you.
Very nice to talk to you as well. A dozen red roses. It's a bit of a cliche, isn't it?
Yes, I do agree, yeah. Jado wants to meet an alien. Justin.
Who? What did you call him?
Jado.
Jado?
Yeah.
Why did you call him Jado, mate?
Well, Justin Dealey.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
He wants to meet an alien.
Yes.
Well, he only has to go back to Three Counties Radio Studios, doesn't he?
Why,
and he'll meet Spick, Spock and Span.
Spick, Spock and Span?
Yeah, that's you, Catherine and Kelly.
Which one's Spick, which one's Spock, and which one's Span?
Spock is you.
Right.
Spick is Catherine.
Right.
And Span is Kelly.
Okay, do you want a slap?
Well, are you big enough to do it?
I'm big enough to do it, mate.
Where?
On your bum?
Well,
hey, here's the thing. All right, Dave, this is a genuine thing, right?
Yeah.
If I pay for it, okay, if I dip my hand in my own pocket and pay for it, and I'll even buy some popcorn, although it's going to sit on my lap, would you want to come and see 50 Shades of Grey with me and Justin?
Yeah. Yeah, because all this talk about it, I've never read it, I've never seen it, I've never heard of it. Well, I've heard of it, but yeah. Well, we got our old hands in the cinema.
Would you like that? All right, listen, Dave.
Yeah.
We'll speak to you a bit later on, and we'll get Dealey on at the same time, okay?
Okay, I might be driving. So.
Well, pull off the road.
Well, no, I've got to take my grandchildren
What time are you driving?
Well, I'll be driving in about another 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
We'll get you up. Go away, and we'll speak to you later.
Who are you telling to go away?
You. Here we go. We've got it, Catherine. Me, Dealey, Dave from Luton, 50 Shades of Grey, Lads Night Out.
Can I come?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
It's
Kelly, do you want to go?
Nope.
Oh. 08459 455 555.
Can I have your mum's number?
Get out of here, for goodness sakes. Now, a Luton woman's demanding answers after 3 separate buses told her they couldn't accommodate her grandmother's wheelchair. Well, the thing is, Jade Pieri and Gladys Croft had used the same number 1 service to get into town in the first place. Our reporter Ewan Duncan went to meet her yesterday.
We were refused initially by 2 drivers, one after the other, saying how we couldn't get on the bus because there was no disabled access. And I put my point across saying, well, we got on the bus to town, the exact same bus. They still persisted to tell me no, and then a 3rd driver decided to say the same. So we ended up having to get in a taxi, and it's just as well we had the money. Otherwise we would have been walking her up a hill in a wheelchair.
How did that make you feel?
Very angry. I was shaking and crying and trying to be calm, but it just wasn't happening.
And the drivers just wouldn't budge?
No, they were quite adamant that I wasn't allowed on the bus with her unless I could get her out, but sometimes she forgets to walk because of her dementia, so I couldn't get her out.
Did your grandmother realise what was happening?
No, she was a little bit of oblivious to what was happening because she lived in a little bubble.
And what did you do then?
I called Arriva to put in a complaint, and they said they'd review it and come back to me. They first come back to me apologising for what had happened and told me it shouldn't have happened, and they would reimburse me for the taxi fare. They then come back to me again saying that they weren't going to do that, and the buses wouldn't be disabled access until 2016, which infuriated me even more, which is why I just want to make people aware of this, because it's just horrible. People shouldn't have to go through it. I think everywhere should be disabled friendly. If you can't get a wheelchair in there, then it's not exactly very functional for anybody, especially around here.
How inconvenient was it to get a taxi back?
It's very inconvenient. It's just as well that I had help from somebody else, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself, because it's trying to carry a person and struggle with a wheelchair at the same time. It's just impossible to do by yourself.
Now you're hoping that some good will come out of this, in that Arriva may get some new buses?
Yeah, definitely. Even if it's just 1 bus on this route, it's just better than nothing. Something's better than nothing.
And is this the first time it had happened to you? Had you come across this before?
I've never come across this before. That's why I was so shocked, because I thought it was the law that at least 1 bus on the route had to be disabled friendly. When they turned around to me and told me there wasn't, I was quite annoyed and upset and couldn't understand why.
And what's been the reaction of your family?
They were even worse than I was. They just think it's discrimination on disabled people, because it's not just my grandma, it's for everybody in a wheelchair really. If they can't get on the bus when they want to, well, how are they supposed to travel out and do anything?
And it's up a steep hill to get to your address, so it makes it very difficult if you haven't got transport.
Yeah, if we didn't have transport, the only way up to bringing her home would be up a hill, and they're all very steep and narrow, and it would just be a nightmare.
Well, joined now by Lindsay Frostick from Arriva. Morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Ian.
What's going on here?
Well, there's a few things just to clarify. The large majority of the buses on the routes 1 and 4 aren't disabled access. They're old V-Reg vehicles which have now come to the end of their life. And as explained to the local paper, we actually we are taking delivery of 30 new buses for Luton, which will serve Farley Hill Estate, Hockwell Ring and Rumfold, and every single one of those, as with all buses purchased in the last sort of 8 years, has to be fully disabled access. So the route will be converted fully to disabled access. Probably from the end of March. 4 have arrived, so we just need to wait for the rest of them to arrive.
And then will that be all of the Arriva buses that you're responsible for will be wheelchair friendly?
Out of the Luton depot, it will be the large proportion. There will be a few that remain, which are generally used on school buses, school services and things like that. But as with most of the services already, they are already wheelchair accessible. So there are a couple on the 1 and 4 route, which is obviously why the family had been able to get into town, but there is a situation where you may get a bus which isn't accessible and not be able to get home.
But that will be sorted out by March?
Yeah, and as we have explained, yeah.
Brilliant. Lindsay, well, listen, as long as it's being sorted out by March, then that's all well and good, isn't it? It's for now. How are these buses? Your buses wheelchair accessible? Are they the ones that kind of lower down and a ramp comes out?
So if there's been a raised curb, and across the town, Luton Borough Council have put loads of raised curbs in, so that it's just level boarding.
Yeah.
So buses can it's called kneeling, so they slightly drop down, and therefore it's just seamless wheeling or walking straight on. If there isn't a raised curb, then they have a ramp which folds out, and then you wheel on that way.
Lindsay, good to talk to you. Thank you very much. I'm glad that's all getting sorted out by March. Murph has emailed in. Iain has emailed in. Iain, this is one-sided rubbish. She sounds completely false talking about the granddaughter. After compensation, and the reporter should stop putting words into her mouth. Well, I mean, I don't think it's false, Iain. I think it
There's
happened.
no mention of compensation there either.
It happened, and that's that. If that's the story you're referring to, unless you're referring to something else that I've completely missed. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
Oh, no, hang on a second. We want a little bit... Oh, dear. Hang on a second.
You and your buttons today.
Well, let's be honest. Someone didn't... I had to skip something and someone didn't put it back. Right. Pause. Let's try this!
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Having a look at the M1 northbound, we've still got a lane closure in here. There was an accident earlier on between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. It looks like there may have been a fuel spillage there, which is blocking the way. A1 in both directions, long queues through these roadworks at the Black Cat roundabout with queues back to St Neots. M1 southbound, that's looking slow as well between junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur Road and junction 9 for Redbourne. A5 southbound, slow between Lynch Hill and Luton Road. Having a look at the M25 anti-clockwise, slow between junction 21 for the M1 and 19 for Watford, and buses replace trains on Chiltern Railway between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Brett for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Travel news for beds.
Oh, blimmin' heck. Hang on a second. Right, there we go. Let's have some of... Oh, I don't know which is the half-hour bed. Oh, flippin' heck. There we go.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Over 100 residents attended a meeting in Milton Keynes last night to demand the reopening of a doctor's surgery which closed down suddenly almost 2 years ago. Since the Willen surgery closed, the pressure on neighbouring practices has led to patients waiting longer than the national average for appointments. The highest speed recorded on a 40 miles per hour road in 2014 was 115 miles per hour on the A10 in Hertfordshire. The highest speeds recorded anywhere were 2 cases of 146 miles per hour on the M25. And a Luton carer is expressing her anger after 3 bus drivers refused to let her and her wheelchair-bound grandmother on. The bus company Arriva says all routes will be wheelchair accessible by April.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Chelsea remain 7 points clear at the top of the Premier League after Willian's 89th minute goal gave them a 1-0 win over Everton at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho was pleased with his side's performance.
We tried everything and the spirit was really amazing. In the end, the pressure was really strong and they were really in trouble in the last 10-15 minutes. And in the end, we got a very important goal, a goal that I think we deserve.
Second place Manchester City won 4-1 at Stoke with Sergio Aguero scoring twice, and Manchester United are up to third after a 3-1 home win over Burnley, but manager Louis van Gaal was not particularly impressed.
We have to be happy. I have said that also to my players, that you can win when you are not performing well, because when you can win when you are playing bad, how you have to win then when you are playing good. I'm happy, and we have to forget this game, I think, because I didn't see any progression, and that's not good.
Elsewhere, West Brom beat Swansea 2-0, Crystal Palace and Newcastle drew 1-1, Southampton and West Ham drew 0-0. Aston Villa have sacked manager Paul Lambert. Their defeat at Hull on Tuesday night saw Villa drop into the bottom three. The one-time Wycombe manager had signed a new 4-year contract in September. Luton have appealed against skipper Steve McNulty's red card in Tuesday's draw with York. McNulty is facing a 4-game ban after his second dismissal of the season. The FA will announce their verdict ahead of Saturday's home game with Carlisle. And Silverstone will stage this year's MotoGP. The Motorcycle Grand Prix will take place over the last weekend in August. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Controversy never far from my door. And controversy has been knocking on my door for the last few days and I've been ignoring it. But today I'm opening the door and I'm inviting it in. We're going to have a chat. The house is empty. The kids are off with their mum. In fact, they're away for the weekend, so I might as well enjoy the time by inviting controversy in for a mano, maybe even a bit of a wrestle. Who knows what's going to happen? But we would normally play the Littlest Hobo theme here. And I've had loads of people saying, no. That's not the Littlest Hobo theme. Garth says, Ian and the team, how about playing the Terry Bush version of the Littlest Hobo theme tune this morning, i.e. the proper song from the TV version and not that cover version you play? Well, I think the version that we've been playing is the TV version. But the Terry Bush version is, I don't know, I'm confused. So we're going to dig out the Bush and play it later on.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sound like a plan, Stan?
I've got it in front of me here. It only seems to last 9 seconds.
Well, let's hear the 9 seconds. Let's hear it. I mean, if you can sum it all up.
All right, let me just check that it's right. Hang on.
All right, you have a little listen here. This is happening live. While we're waiting for that to happen, let's go to my main man, Jado. Morning, Jado.
Hey, good morning, boss. How are you?
You're all right, fellow. It's great to hear you in low quality at last.
Listen, I'm on the way to my town, which is the town of love, Hemel Hempstead, to talk about Valentine's Day and why people love the flower of love, roses.
Well, you're such a plum. Jado, say hello to Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Hi, Justin, mate.
Well, yeah, mate, maybe. How are you, Dave?
All right, fine, thanks, Justin. I'm glad you're going back. I'm glad you're going back to Hemel. You know, your lovely town.
Okay. Thanks,
Dave. Now listen, Justin probably hasn't been listening because he works very hard.
I have, and I'm very, very scared.
No, well, listen. This is the plan. Is Justin? You and I were going to go. You twisted my arm and then gaffer taped it to a radiator and persuaded me to go and see 50 Shades of Grey with you.
Yeah.
Well, I've invited Dave, and Dave, when I asked you if you wanted to see it, you got quite excited, didn't you?
Well, yeah. Well, because I've never, read
seen
it.
the film.
I've never seen it. I know there's a lot of talk about it.
Yeah, and you know what it's about, don't you?
Well, in some direction, yeah.
I'm glad you said direction. So, listen, Justin.
Yeah.
This is how the seating will be. There'll be me, there'll be Dave, there'll be you.
Yep.
And we're going to go... Sorry?
I'm not sitting next to you.
Well, where are you going to sit then, you idiot?
With Catherine.
Catherine's not going.
Yeah, she wants to go.
Not with us.
Well, bring Kelly.
It's like a double date. It's like a double date.
It's a lad's night out.
I've got short hair.
Hang on a second. Jonathan, I can see you tiptoeing around me. What are you doing? Tiptoeing?
I'm trying to quietly get the time.
What are you doing?
Just nicking one of your papers.
Do you want to come and see 50 Shades of Grey with me, Justin and Dave?
No.
Why?
Because I don't think it's very titillating.
Well, you don't know until you've seen it.
Really?
We'll talk about it later, but you're coming.
Oh, Catherine's coming.
Catherine's not coming. It's a lad's night out.
Yeah.
Hang on a second, Matt.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh, I want to see this.
Matty Bum Bum.
Oh, dear.
Oh, we've all become 15. Matt.
Yes.
Good morning, Matt.
You rang?
You rang, my lord. Matt, would you like to come with Justin and Dave Luton to see 50 Shades of Grey? It's on my dollar, brother. You going to come?
No, thank you.
Sorry?
No, thank you.
Why not?
I want to hear Kenny Rogers.
No, for goodness sakes. Listen, I am going to pay for a ticket, Matt, and I'll even buy you a hot dog.
No, if you paid for it, there's something dodgy going on.
There's nothing dodgy. We're having a lads' night out.
Yeah.
Group of old men and 2 youngsters to see 50 Shades of Grey.
I wouldn't say youngsters, mate. I could out-sing you, out-dance you.
It's not about... We'll go for... listen, if you want to have a... Dealey, you try and persuade Matt.
Come on, Matt. Listen, it's the film that everyone's talking about. This film could well and truly change your life forever. Come on, come with us.
A lot of rubbish, mate.
What have you got to lose?
I'll wait till the DVD comes out and watch it at home.
Matt, stay there.
Yeah.
Dennis?
Yes?
Do you fancy coming to see 50 Shades of Grey?
Why not?
With me, Dave, Justin and Matt.
It'd be a very short night, though.
I couldn't take it, mate.
You don't have to take it, Matt.
I couldn't take it.
No.
I get a bit excited, you know.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Listen, as long as your doctor signs you off, then you... But listen, I'm paying...
Actually, I was speaking to my doctor yesterday.
Here we go.
And he said to me about this 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, for goodness, I'm riding the fader.
He said to me, are you going to go and see it? I said, I might do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like to go with you.
It's not a great punchline, Matt, I'll be honest. Don't open
No, he was actually talking to the doctor, it turns out.
Because we'd probably get thrown out.
Right, listen. So hang on, who's it? Right, I'm in. Justin, you're in, aren't you?
Yeah, on one condition.
Yeah.
I've met Dave in Luton before. Dave, a little bit of advice here. The cinema's going to be full of ladies. You need to trim that nostril hair, okay?
What nostril hair? I haven't got no nostril hair.
Dave, come on. I've met you before. You need to get some scissors over the weekend. It's going to be a cinema full of ladies. Prepare yourself, all right?
So, Catherine, put your hand down. You're not coming. It's a lad's night.
Oh, yeah, Catherine's coming.
So, Justin's coming. Dave, you're coming.
Yeah, well, yeah, let me know the time.
Yeah, well, Dennis, you're going to come.
Yes, I'll be there.
Matt, you coming?
No, thank you.
Matt, will you come with us?
No.
Come with us.
No way, sir.
Why not?
What a lot of old rubbish.
Matt, come with us and see 50 Shades of
I
Grey.
wouldn't go and watch 50 Shades of Green. I got 40 Shades of Green, Johnny Cash.
I've got a really good idea, Matt.
Hey?
Why don't you go with them and see the film, and then you can take them all to the Leicester Arms afterwards?
I wouldn't take them in the Leicester Arms anyway.
Oh.
Matt, what have I got to do to make you come?
No, I don't go to cinemas, rather rubbish.
Right, Matt's gone. What grumpy old son. Just us then, lads, yeah?
I'm disappointed about Matt. Disappointed, but there you go.
Well, isn't Matt coming?
You try and persuade him, Dave.
Well, I can't, because if he's not coming, I'm not going.
Oh,
no way, Dave. Absolutely not of crap.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm fearing. It's not about the film, Matt.
Yeah.
It's about those two I've got to sit in between.
No, don't go, Dave.
No, Catherine's going.
Don't go, Dave.
Yeah,
right, Catherine is not going. Dave, you're coming.
Please, hey, Dave, listen to this. Please don't go. Please don't
go.
Yeah.
Hey, David.
What do you
You come, I'll hold your hand.
for you. Can I have a bit of Kenny Rogers, please?
Boss, Spock, can you give him a bit of Kenny Rogers?
No, he won't.
Oh, he's gone now, Matt.
An absolute prat.
Yeah, I know, mate.
Dave. So, anyway, Dave, how are you? All right?
Oh, yeah, fine, thanks, Matt.
We'll have to meet up, Dave. I'll see you in the Leicester Arms one of these weeks.
Yeah, I will do. I used to drink in there years ago, Matt.
Did you?
Yeah.
It was a good pub years ago. It's not
I know it was, mate. Yeah, very good pub.
So you live local, Dave?
Yes. Leagrave.
Oh, Leagrave. I'm Leagrave, aren't I?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. My daughter lives in Kingsley Road.
Oh, I'm up on the Torrington Road.
Oh, yes, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work at AMC up there years ago.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, boys, get back to the film, will you? Get back to the film.
You're going in, Dennis?
Too true. I'll hold your hand.
I don't think you can go, Dennis. Don't you, mate?
If you get nervous, I'll hold your hand.
We've all got our old hands, Dennis.
Got to keep them in your pocket.
It'll be like a ring of roses, you lot.
Yeah, especially with that boss. You've got to put your hands in your pockets.
I wouldn't. Well, he'll probably sew his pockets up because he's in tight as hell.
Matt, it comes to music.
Yes.
He's very rude to you, Dennis, and me, isn't he?
He is very rude.
Well, we don't take any notice.
No. That's Spock. His name's Spock.
Spock, Dr. Spock. Big ear.
Yeah, Dr. Spock.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.
Spock.
Well, it's nice to talk to you, Matt, and you, Dennis.
Okay,
I've got to go now.
All the best, Dave.
And you. Bye,
Happy
Ian.
Easter.
Bye, and you.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.
Bye, Ian. Goodbye, Ian.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Well, that goodbye took forever, didn't it?
You put the phone down.
No, you put the phone down. No, you. Flipping heck. Here, let's have a bit of this.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me down the road, that's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on down this road that never seems to end, where new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you want to join me for a while, just grab your hat, we'll travel like that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I want to settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. There's a world that's waiting to unfold, a brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there, we've paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll find what I call home. Until tomorrow, you know I'm free to roam. So if you want to join me for a while, just grab your hat, we'll travel like that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home.
Nah, I don't think so.
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We've still got a lane closed on the M1 northbound at the moment. That's between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton after an accident. It looks like there's a fuel spillage there as well. A1 queuing in both directions through the roadworks at the Black Cat roundabout with queues to St Neots. M1 southbound slow between the Luton Airport Spur Road and junction 9 for Redbourne. And the A5 southbound, we've got queues between Dunstable Road and Lynch Hill. The A40 Oxford Road, do expect delays in both directions. There's roadworks at Archway, a lane closure there in both directions. Buses replace trains also on Chiltern Railway between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Brett for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Paula. 7:46, Thursday, the 12th of February. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Over 100 residents attended a meeting in Milton Keynes last night to demand the reopening of a doctor's surgery which closed down suddenly almost 2 years ago. The highest speed recorded on a 40 miles per hour road in 2014 was 115 miles an hour on the A10 in Hertfordshire. And the Arriva bus company says more wheelchair-accessible buses are being added to their fleet after a Luton carer complained that 3 drivers refused to let her and her wheelchair-bound grandmother on. Talking aliens in a minute. Let's get the weather first, though. Here's Alina.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
More of the same today, Iain. Cloudy, dull, mainly dry. Can't rule out the odd spot of drizzle, but I think this is the exception rather than the rule. The cloud is going to limit the rise of temperature, so 4 or 5 Celsius the high today, always feeling on the cold side. Still cloudy tonight, mainly dry for much of the night, but some showers expected to develop as we head towards dawn. With all the cloud around, temperatures won't drop much lower than 2 or 3 Celsius, but a different kind of day tomorrow, more unsettled, blustery, strengthening south or southwesterly winds, some showers in the morning, but a more persistent band of rain expected to push west to east through the afternoon. And coupled with the wind, even though temperatures will get up to around 8 or 9 Celsius, it will still feel on the cool side. Could see 1 or 2 showers first thing on Saturday morning, but they'll clear away, and then much of the weekend, well, we return to the mainly dry but often cloudy theme, but it won't be quite as cold. Temperatures on both Saturday and Sunday will be around 8 or 9 Celsius.
Yesterday, local Conservative MP Anne Main sat in my hot seat.
I come from a working class, ordinary background. I like to think I can speak up for the ordinary man in the street in St Albans.
If you missed it and want to hear how she answered your questions...
Well, I take issue with being called a dishonest person because I was never found to be dishonest. I would love to see that Hemel Hospital had some sort of recuperative facility.
Go to bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio where you can hear it all again.
I can understand why there's anger about expenses, and since then I have not claimed a single penny under expenses, even though I am entitled to do so.
The JVS Show Hot Seat with Anne Main. Online now at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties Radio.
So, on Fridays, and we're doing this for a few more weeks, then we'll kind of sit back and decide whether we want to continue doing it or not. But we do something different, don't we, Catherine, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock on a Friday morning?
We do, and it's different every week because what we do is we open the doors and anyone can come in and have a chat with us. That's all it is. We don't expect you to come in and, do a Britain's Got Talent turn or anything like that. Just come in and have a gab.
I was having a chat with Edwin on the Facebook page last night, who says, hello 3C Radio, what's this I hear about open days for the public to visit the station and see how it's run?
No.
True or false?
False.
I'm interested. I left you 2 phone messages yesterday and today. Nobody has replied. So I replied and said, well, what you're thinking of is 7:30, 8 o'clock on a Friday morning. You can just rock up and you come and sit in the studio and you talk to me and Kath.
But it's not a spectator sport.
No.
We're not showing you round and saying which microphone is the most powerful or anything like that.
No,
it's a matter
because I don't know. The red one.
We make stuff up.
Yes.
People don't know. It's not a tour or anything like that. You come in, sit down and have a chat with us. So if you listen to the programme, I think you're at a distinct advantage because you already know us.
Although, do you know what would be wonderful? And I don't know how this would work. People that have never listened to the programme coming in. So, well, I guess that's down to you, dear listener, bringing someone in.
You could introduce your friend.
Bringing someone who's never heard the programme in. Mm-hmm. That would be awesome. Edwin, if you want to come in, he's a student who wants to get into radio. You're more than welcome to come in. I think,
but you will have to talk to us.
Yeah, you sit in the way it works, you sit in the studio with me and Catherine and you talk to us and we chat to you.
You don't need to book, though, so don't be ringing.
No.
Just turn up.
I got a feeling that mum who didn't make it last week with her little girl little girl's patronising, her daughter who likes ice skating, they might be coming in.
OK.
But you don't have to send me an email, you just rock up at the door. And that's I kind of prefer it when people just turn up and we don't know who it's going to be.
We'd rather not know, and we quite like the adrenaline of thinking no one's going to turn up.
Yeah. And no one may turn up, and that's fine as well because it's an experiment. No, as far as I know, no one has ever done it before. No. So we're blazing a trail. It might not be a very interesting trail, but
it is
we're
though.
Do
you know what? We've had some really interesting stories over the last few weeks, haven't we?
We've had some good stuff.
So come and have a chat with us.
Well, if we fancy that, then you're more than welcome to.
And
now.
we put it at 7:30 so that it doesn't interfere too much with your morning.
Yeah. And you can stay for the whole half hour. You can stay for 5 minutes if you want. If you come in, you don't fancy it, you can go again. It's all groovy, man. Now, aliens. They have to exist. They have to exist. It's a mathematical certainty. Well, scientists are asking for permission to try and contact intelligent life in space. They need public consent to broadcast radio signals, something they're discussing at a conference in California. I thought they'd been doing this for ages, though, sending out blips and bleeps and stuff.
There's something slightly different about this in that it's broadcasts, but don't ask me, ask the expert.
Well, we will ask the expert in a second. Before that, though, let's ask a complete and utter amateur, Justin Dealey. He's taken this to the streets.
Trish, how are you this morning?
All right, thank you.
Lovely.
Well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the comp. Now, do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, I do in a way. Yes, I do.
OK, would you like experts to make contact with the aliens?
No, I think they're best left alone.
Mind you, we all enjoyed E.T., didn't we?
Well, if there was aliens, I think they're a bigger force than E.T. would be.
It's a good point, well made. Have a good day, thank you very much.
Yes.
Morning, sir. Nice dreads.
Yeah, man, you're right, yeah.
Do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, obviously, man.
Sir, aliens, would you like to see aliens contacted?
No. Don't believe them, mate.
Why don't you believe? Come on.
Don't believe.
Come on, talk to me, open up.
I just don't believe, mate.
Nothing else to say?
No.
Yeah, if it's going to benefit us.
How do you think it might benefit you if they catch up with the green monsters?
Jeez, man, they're going to kill us all when they come to F.
They're going to kill us all?
Yeah.
So you think they're going to kill us off? So it's important that the experts do make contact and say, look, please don't come down and murder us.
Yeah.
What Dealey has done there is just proved that asking people in the street their opinions for news items is completely and utterly pointless. They could come down and kill us all. Andy Ratcliffe is a space systems engineer based at Airbus Defence and Space in Stevenage. Morning, Andy.
Morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. This conference, what was this conference all about?
So there was a science conference in America, and there was a workshop during the days there. And the city guys have, over the past 50 years, have been listening to signals from our universe, and now they've decided that maybe they can start sending signals instead. And now they're trying to determine the science and the sociological impact.
OK, so there are signals coming from space, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're from sentient beings, does it?
No, so there's a lot of natural sounds that we pick up with our radio antennas, but they're trying to determine whether there's actually man-made or alien signals being sent out by these.
And have there been any kind of indication, because I love all this stuff, has there been any kind of indication that some of these aren't just random space sounds, that maybe there is there is a possibility there is some intelligence behind them?
Well, they've actually found some signals, and there's some been documented, but they only heard one.
Ooh.
So they need it repeated, and they can't determine whether it is actually life or whether it was just a freak signal.
And I thought that we were sending signals out already. I thought we'd been doing that for decades.
No. At the moment, we've just been listening. We did actually send out some spacecraft that had golden discs on them with our makeup, our pictures ourselves, and our location, but we never sent out signals so far.
OK, so and what is this about? People need to get the public's agreement in this.
Well, I think the scientists obviously taking a very good point that they need to address the wider issues, not just the science behind it, but do we really want to be sending out signals?
Yes, we do! We do! Completely.
Well, I think there would be a lot of impacts. I think if we put X marks the spot on Earth, I mean, we're quite an attractive planet in terms of water and resources. But I think the bigger question is there life out there? And I think that's such an exciting question.
Well, hang on a minute. You're kind of... I was suggesting that the last chap that Justin spoke to was a nut job, but you're suggesting that, hang on, we might be putting a target on us and they might come down and kill us all.
I'm not really suggesting that, but I think we've got to consider all possibilities that actually sending signals might be dangerous. I don't know, but it's an exciting thing.
I wasn't expecting the conversation to go that way. Surely it's got to be done. There's got to be some boffin somewhere with a ham radio set that's sending signals out, isn't there?
Well, the problem is the signals that... So your signal from this radio broadcast is being sent out.
Yeah.
It's very low intensity. So somebody with a personal radio won't be really able to send a really high intensity message.
What kind of machine? What sort of thing would they need to send it then, Andy? How would it work?
So there'd be probably a big antenna in the US, and they'd have a directed beam of information, and they'd send that targeted to certain locations in our galaxy to try and target these stars that they think potentially there could be life.
How far could it go, and how long would it take to get there?
So we have the nearest sun to our own is about 20 light years away. So minimal, it would probably take about 20 years. So it probably wouldn't be a very quick conversation.
No.
Managed to pick one up.
And the fact that, I love this, the fact that this is being discussed by, some of the most intelligent people on the planet suggests that there is a real feeling in the scientific community that there is life out there.
Yeah, I mean, so at Airbus, where I work, we are actually developing 2 missions. So we're doing one that's going to Mars in 2018 that's going to drill down into the surface and look for life. Yeah. And then we have another mission called Plato, which is actually going to see if there's planets similar to our own orbiting other suns. So this is a hot topic for a scientific community.
And how is this Plato? How's that? You're going to fire a rocket off just go into deep space?
So we've got a mission that we're going to launch into orbit around the Earth, and then basically we're going to then look at stars and then see if a planet moves across, and if it's got certain characteristics, then we can know it's in its Goldilocks zone and it could be habitable.
Andy, listen, man, we've got to get you on again and have a longer chat, if that's okay, at some point in the future.
Yeah, brilliant. And you should come down to Airbus. We've got a Mars yard and I fire harpoons, so you should come
Dude, he's just invited us down, Catherine. I wasn't going to fish for it, but...
when are you free?
We'll be down this afternoon, Andy. Put the kettle on.
Yeah, we'll do.
We will honestly, we'll take you up on that. Yes.
You referenced the Goldilocks zone there. Do you know what that is?
No, go on.
It's when everything is just right for life.
Oh,
like the porridge.
Like the porridge and the bed and the chair. Andy Ratcliffe from Airbus Defence and Space in Stevenage. We'll sort that out.
I knew you'd like that one.
I like the story, and I like the way he explained it brilliantly.
Let's go.
And he's working on proper space and science missions. He's working on something that's going to drill down into Mars. Man, we're totally going. We'll sort that out. Have you got time for a couple of quick texts if you've got anything there, Catherine?
I've got some offers.
Thank you, Andy. That was brilliant.
You won't take me along on your Jolly Boys outing.
Yes, we will be very jolly boys, yes.
I've got some offers from other people who will. So,
who's going to take you to see 50 Shades of Grey?
Kevil from Luton.
Yeah,
He says he'll take me.
Yeah. Don't go with a listener, mate.
Why?
Well, because...
You're going with 2.
Yeah, but they're Dave and Dennis, and I could totally overpower them, and I will have gaffer tape with me.
If you're worried about my safety, well, let me come on your...
You're not coming!
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Still a lane closure, I'm afraid, on the M1 northbound. There was an accident earlier on between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. Now, although the lorry involved has been moved, it's left a fuel spill that needs to be cleared. It's looking very slow past there at the moment. A1 queuing in both directions through the roadworks at the Black Cat roundabout with queues at 2 St Neots. The M1 southbound slow as well between the Luton Airport Spur Road and junction 9 for Redbourne. A5 southbound looking slow between Dunstable Road and Lynch Hill, and the M25 anti-clockwise slow between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 18 for Chorleywood. Buses replace trains on Chiltern Railway between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Brett for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Paula. I really enjoyed that chat with Andy. Wasn't he brilliant? We'll pop down there and have a little look around. Right, coming up. Are you going to go and see 50 Shades of Grey and roses? They're just such a cliche, aren't they?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: continued anger over closure of Milton Keynes surgery. Highest speed on 40 miles per hour road was in Hertfordshire, and bus company improving disabled access in Luton.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Over 100 residents attended a meeting in Milton Keynes last night to demand the reopening of a doctor's surgery which closed down suddenly almost 2 years ago. Since the Willen surgery closed, the pressure on neighbouring practices has led to patients waiting longer than the national average for appointments. Patricia McCarthy from Willen Park wants answers from NHS England.
What's missing is actually NHS England, who have just become invisible. They shut the surgery overnight. We couldn't see them. They thought they'd solve the problem by just dumping people elsewhere.
Britain's worst speeding offenders in 2014 have been revealed, with the highest speed on a 40 miles per hour road recorded in Hertfordshire. A driver was caught doing 115 miles per hour on the A10 Great Cambridge Road in Cheshunt. The highest speeds recorded were 2 cases of 146 miles per hour on the M25 in Kent. The figures have been compiled by the Institute of Advanced Motorists following a Freedom of Information request. The Labour leader Ed Miliband is to set out a new pledge for primary schools today that no child aged 7 or under will be taught in a class of more than 30 for more than a year. Meanwhile, the UKIP leader Nigel Farage is launching his party's general election campaign today. He'll demand an immediate referendum on leaving the European Union in return for supporting a minority government. A Luton carer is expressing her anger after 3 bus drivers refused to let her and her wheelchair-bound grandmother on, despite the fact they'd taken the same service into the town. Jade Pieri says she and 80-year-old Gladys Croft had to take a taxi back to their Farley Hill home. Lindsay Frostick from the bus company Arriva says most routes will be wheelchair accessible by the end of March.
Out of the Luton depot, it will be the large proportion. There will be a few that remain which are generally used on school buses. As with most of the services already, they are already wheelchair accessible. So there are a couple on the 1 and 4 route, which is obviously why the family have been able to get into town.
Guidance is being issued about the use of hidden cameras to monitor the care of people in hospital and care homes. The Care Quality Commission advises that people should gain permission from the person being cared for. Extra police patrols are taking place in Bedford after a spate of thefts from cars. Bedfordshire Police say the peak areas include the De Paris, Harper, Poets, Midland Road, Town Centre and Castle areas. In sport, Chelsea are still 7 points clear at the top of the Premier League after a 1-0 win over Everton. There were also wins for Manchester City and Manchester United, and struggling Aston Villa have sacked their manager Paul Lambert. The weather, a dry day but cloudy and cold with an odd bright interval possible. A maximum temperature 5 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon. Morning, Iain Lee, BBC 3 Counties Radio. Aliens, they must exist, mustn't they? Although I was surprised by that fella in Justin's piece that he's worried they're going to come down here and kill us all. I mean, I suppose it could happen. Roses, they're a little bit naff, aren't they? And I've got a feeling this 50 Shades of Grey movie is going to be one of the biggest flops of all time because, well, it's had terrible reviews and there's something a little bit different from reading a mucky book at home to going to the pictures and watching it. I bet it flops in the cinema and does a little bit better on DVD, but are you planning to go? 08 459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC 3 Counties Radio.
I imagine it'll do well on DVD. I bet. Will it be out on DVD in time for Mother's Day? No, perhaps not. But for Christmases and birthday, it will do well on DVD. But going to the cinema to see it, I mean, it's not... If you want to see a raunchy film, then you go online, don't you? And if you want to see a rom-com, and you go and see something with, I don't know, Jennifer Aniston in, or Vince Vaughn. I'm not quite sure. This film seems to be straddling so many different camps. At least that's one of the reviews I read. Describes that. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. I would love to know if you're considering going. I am going with Justin Dealey, Dave from Luton, Dennis, and I'm going to persuade Matt to come as well. He's definitely going to come.
I want to go.
Catherine, it's a lad's night out.
I could be a lad.
I know, and you were mistaken for one in Costa the other day.
Exactly. So if it's good enough for Costa, it's good enough for that.
Mate, you're going to have to just go with your girly mates. So.
Come on.
No, I'm sorry, mate.
You know it won't be as much fun if I'm not there. Come on.
No. Have we got some texts, please, before I go on to this story about Willen?
Do you think Iain should let me go with them? 08459
No, don't use this for your own propaganda. You're not coming.
Oh. James in Milton Keynes is concerned about this idea of bringing aliens here.
Morning, James.
Have you not heard of War of the Worlds, says James? Seen Independence Day? It's not all E.T. and Alf, you know.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, even Alf, it was a danger to cats.
Yeah, well, the War of the Worlds is a great film. Both versions are great until the last 35 minutes when they all get killed just by the fact they can't breathe human air. And so it just kind of winds down. As a lot of... who's the man who wrote that? Not T.S. Eliot, not C.S. Lewis, not Robert Louis
Enid
Stevenson.
Blyton.
No, who wrote War of the Worlds? H.G. Wells. The same with The Time Machine. Good story. Last 30 minutes, rubbish.
Time Machine starts out really well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it starts out brilliantly.
Also, lots of love for this idea of the Jolly Boys outing.
Yep.
Joe says, I love all the banter and opinion. Matt and Dave go to the pictures. It's on.
Yep.
If anyone else wants to join... Hey.
No. It's because I'm paying. I'm not paying for any more.
Oh, well, I'll pay for myself.
Thank you very much indeed, Catherine. I'm going to turn your microphone off now. 08459 455 555. Now, the sudden closure of a Milton Keynes doctor's surgery has left neighbouring GPs struggling to cope with demand. It's been almost 2 years since patients turned up for appointments at the Willen Village surgery, only to find the doors were locked and there was a load of post piling up. Well, NHS England says waiting times of 5 alternative practices are now way longer than the national average, with many patients being told it'll take more than a week to see a doctor. Well, Paul Day is a patient at the Newport Pagnell surgery. Morning, Paul.
Hiya.
Paul, what's been the knock-on effect on you?
Well, I think if I've asked for a doctor's appointment, you sometimes have to wait a few days. You don't know for certain what that reason is. So, I mean, certainly what I do know is that my local surgery work really hard. They're a lovely surgery and, you know, they're already at capacity. I mean, Milton Keynes already a growing place. Even Newport Pagnell's growing with new developments. So to think that a surgery can just absorb thousands of new patients with no impact, I just think defies common sense.
Did you notice was there a marked difference, Paul? You know, was it easier to get appointments a couple of years ago than it is now?
It's hard to say. Yeah. It's hard to say for certain that, isn't it? Certainly, sometimes would I rather see a doctor earlier than I can see a doctor? Yes. And part of that is because there's thousands of extra patients.
Yeah. I would imagine, and with with the greatest respect, you want the Willen Village patients to kind of go back to their own surgery to make it easier for you and your family.
Well, yeah, I was at the meeting last night that you talked about on the news, and it kind of is amazing that you've got all political parties locally working together, a local surgery working, you know, a developer who's prepared to support this, despite the fact it's not normally his business, but he's prepared to put money in to help buy the building. And yet NHS England haven't sorted it.
It's nuts, isn't it? Because we all know, listen, it's difficult for everyone to get to see their doctor. We all know that GP surgeries are pushed. We all know that wherever you live, more and more people are moving in. So you would think NHS England would be all over this. It would be great PR for them.
Well, I mean, you would, wouldn't you? I mean, I know there's lots of changes in the NHS. They're under pressure with all the cuts and all that sort of thing. But it just seems for common sense. And the thing about the meeting last night was that, you know, normally if you go to a meeting, you'd expect a bit of disagreement, whatever. It was a furious agreement. Every person in the room is saying, this is common sense. Why can't they just pull their fingers out and get on with it? So it's amazing. And as I say, lovely to see people putting party politics aside and getting on with it.
Yeah, and that's that. Paul, listen, thank you very much indeed. Well, there's a new phrase for you. There was a furious agreement. That's Paul Days, a patient at Newport Pagnell Surgery that's been affected by this. Isabella Fraser is chair of Campbell Park Parish Council, which organised the meeting. Isabella, there was furious agreement last night, is that right?
Absolutely unanimous agreement all round.
Gosh. So the problem is NHS England, is it?
Yes, it would appear to be. Well, no, it would appear to be NHS England with a subsidiary problem of the Homes and Communities Agency.
And so, what is the problem? Are they just being slow? Are they not interested? Are there legal problems?
The NHS England are just, I think, being very, very slow. It's not as if we haven't all been writing to them for months and months.
This has been going on for over 2 years, Isabella.
It has. We didn't pick it up until about 6 months ago, maybe 9 months ago, when we listed the surgery on our community asset register. But we couldn't go straight to buy it because it was a receivership, which sort of cancels that out.
What effect is this having on the local community, Isabella?
A great deal of dissatisfaction. There are many elderly people in the 5 or 6 estates this serves, particularly my Willen one, and they've got to travel miles now. Some to Pennyland, some to Newport Pagnell, some down to somewhere around Walnut Tree and further afield. And it's not the easiest thing for elderly people to get about.
Well, no, not at all. And obviously having a GP surgery that's nearby is an important part of the community. Isabella, thank you. I'm going to move on because I just want to squeeze in one more guest on this subject. That's Isabella Fraser, Chair of Campbell Park Parish Council. Well, finally, we've got the man who is proposing to buy the surgery building and reopen it, Duncan Mason. Morning, Duncan.
Good morning.
Why do you want to buy it?
I'm just a local guy who my business happens to own a local centre next door, and I was just approached to see if I could help. I think the problem's been that much as there's a lot of will to try and achieve something here, nobody actually had the cash to buy the property, so they asked me if I could help, and I'm a local guy, and I thought it'd be quite nice if I could.
So you're a businessman, you're not a doctor, you're not involved in the medical trade. It would still be a surgery, would it, if you were able to buy it?
Yeah, 100%. That's all I'm interested in buying it for.
And what are the problems? Why is this not happening?
As we just heard, it just takes an awful long time and an awful lot of bureaucracy to go through to try and get things sorted out. There's a doctor's surgery from Newport Pagnell that are extremely keen to operate from the property, but it does take NHS England to support that, as they do for every doctor's surgery. But the process of getting from A to B takes an eternity.
So there are doctors that are ready. You want to buy the building, and there are doctors that are ready to go in there and practice.
That's exactly right, yeah.
It just seems nuts, Duncan, because this has been going on for nearly 2 years. I can't understand why NHS England wouldn't want to, at the very least, make themselves look good by sorting it out.
Well, it'd be great if they would. I mean, I think they'd probably say that they're not saying no. It's just that it's a question of whether they'll say yes quickly enough.
Is there a time limit, Duncan, on your involvement with this project?
Not from my perspective, but the property's been on the market for about 7 or 8 months. I think where we're quite lucky here is that originally when the land was, I think, almost gifted to the then owner by the then Commission for New Towns in Milton Keynes, there was a covenant placed on it that it can only be used for medical purposes. Well, you can probably imagine that people speculate that they can perhaps get around that. So there are other people that are bidding on this property for use other than as a medical centre.
Duncan, as a businessman, how confident are you that your plan will go ahead?
I'm an optimist, so I think I'm quite positive. But I think probably the reason I'm most positive is that ultimately the property can't be used for anything other than a medical centre.
Yeah.
The Homes and Communities Agency have the ability to prevent anybody from using it for anything else other than that. And I think we're the only party bidding that are prepared to continue using it for that purpose. So I can't quite understand why anybody else is bidding, to be honest, because I don't think they can use it for anything other than what we want to use it for. But
Duncan, listen, I've got to move on. Well, we should have more local business people like you that are prepared to get involved and try and shift and shape things in the community. Thank you very much indeed, Duncan Mason. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We've had reports in of another accident on the M1 northbound, this time between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and junction 12 for Flitwick. 2 lanes closed here, several cars and a van involved. Very slow-moving queues coming past the Toddington services. M1 northbound also has a lane closed after a lorry accident between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. A1 slow in both directions through the roadworks at the Black Cat roundabout, with queues to St Neots, and delays also on the A5 southbound between Dunstable Road and Lynch Hill. Buses replace trains on Chiltern Railway between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Brett for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much. 8:16. It's Thursday, the 12th of February. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Over 100 residents attended a meeting in Milton Keynes last night to demand the reopening of a doctor's surgery, which closed down suddenly almost 2 years ago. The highest speed recorded on a 40 miles per hour road in 2014 was 150 miles an hour. It was local. And the Arriva bus... Oh, no, that's a bad thing. It was local. And the Arriva bus company says more wheelchair-accessible buses are being added to their fleet after a Luton carer complained that 3 drivers refused to let her and her wheelchair-bound grandmother on.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Here comes Raffles.
Raffles?
Yeah, you little tiptoeing around the studio earlier on, thinking I wouldn't notice. Yes. But you were actually on tippy toe, and you were doing the hands as well, like your little
tiptoe hands.
The tiptoe hands.
Well, I didn't want to ruin your flow. I just thought I could quietly slip in.
Hello.
Find the times.
Yeah.
Take it out.
Well, no, I saw you come in. I heard the door, and even when you tiptoe, you're still quite a noisy fellow. Let's be honest. So it was very, very poor tiptoeing.
Oh,
but you found the times, did you?
Yes.
You got it. Helpful.
Yeah. Do you need it back before night?
We'll be all right. We'll be all right with that.
You sure?
I don't. Right. The Times is at the bottom of my list. We've started being sent Le Figaro.
Have you?
Yeah, French newspaper. We get Le Figaro. Did you order it, Catherine? Because you speak Le Français.
No, c'est pas moi.
How she does that. So listen, me, Dealey, Dennis. You're not coming. Dennis, Dave, and I'll persuade Matt to
and
come.
Me.
And Catherine, you're not coming. And JVS, 50 Shades of Grey. It's on me. I'll even buy you a hot dog.
Wow.
It's very kind of you, but
I want a hot dog.
Catherine, down.
I think I might prefer to cut off my own limbs and eat them.
Like you said,
Sorry,
he'd buy you a hot dog.
Catherine, I'm going to turn your microphone off. Get on my nerves. What? I don't understand. What's your beef, mate?
It doesn't sound much fun.
Who
did you say it was?
So me and Justin.
Yeah.
That's certainly plenty of banter.
Yeah.
Dennis from Dunstable, Dave Luton, and Grumpy Matt. Come on.
Watching 50 Shades of... It sounds like a very awkward evening.
I'll even bring a little bit of gaffer tape so we can play afterwards.
What?
Come on, it'll be a laugh. We'll have a laugh. That's not a no, that's a maybe, isn't it? That is a maybe. That's a maybe, Catherine, isn't it?
Oh, my God.
I'll definitely...
You're not coming. That is a maybe. I'll get Dealey to work on you.
I'll think about it and I'll get one of my team to get back to you.
Which one of your team?
Matt Lockwood today.
I'm glad to see you're taking my request seriously. Is Lockers on your show?
Yeah.
Who's he replacing?
Sarah.
Oh, so he'll be upstairs for most of it.
My way.
Oh, dear. What's on your show today?
Coming up on the Big Phone In this morning from 9. Do you think it's acceptable for families to put secret cameras in care homes? Health Policy Monitor, the Care Quality Commission, have published a practical guide for families who want to secretly film their relatives in care homes. The CQC accepts that opinion is split on whether or not it's acceptable to secretly film people in care, but they say we must recognise some people wish to do so. The Chief Inspector of Social Care, Andrea Sutcliffe, has told the BBC not everyone gets good care, and she accepts that for some families, filming their loved ones may be the answer. However, Nadra Ahmed from the National Care Association says if we're helping people film in secret, the relationship of trust between families and carers is broken. Those relationships mean nothing, she says. From 9 this morning, I'd like your reaction to this. Do you think it's acceptable for families to put secret cameras in care homes?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, totally. Totally. My mum's in a care home, and I wouldn't have a problem with it in the slightest. Now, the majority of carers in the care home she's in are great. There is one who we had issues with. But also, when Mum was at home, she would have carers coming in, supplied by the council. 2 of them nicked all her jewellery and all her cash. So, unfortunately, it's a very badly paid job, and some of the people that do this job, tiny minority, are complete and utter dodgepots.
So where would you have the cameras, then? In your mum's bedroom?
That would require some thought, but in the bedroom, yeah.
In the bathroom? She's got an ensuite bathroom from the room?
She's got an ensuite bathroom. My initial reaction is to say no to the bathroom, and then, of course, that would mean that abuse could go on in there. I would probably say no to the bathroom.
And possibly, dare I suggest, more abuse occurs in the bathroom than it does in the bedroom.
I don't think so.
No?
No, because I think the kind of abuse in these sort of instances is people being treated disrespectfully, and by that I mean, being ignored and being told to shut up and stop whinging and stop crying and get on with it. And also people that have fallen on the floor that are ignored. I think it's more that kind of abuse. I've
seen footage, though, before, very upsetting footage, of so-called carers trying to help an elderly person wash or clean themselves after going to the toilet. And because they have presumably found the task so disgusting in some way, they've taken it out on the person themselves, and they've been absolutely awful. And if you're going to put cameras, haven't you got to have them in the bathroom in order to protect the resident from abuse there, when maybe they are feeling even more vulnerable?
We could go down the rabbit hole on this. I would suggest, and this is just off the top of my head, cameras in the bedroom, but a microphone that would pick up what's going on in the bathroom to afford some privacy. But if someone's saying, "Oh, you dirty old so-and-so," which people do, unfortunately, that would be recorded.
Well, from 9 this morning, I'd like your reaction to this. Do you think it's acceptable for families to put secret cameras in care homes? Your call on 08459 455 555.
Three Counties Sport.
It was a mixed bag of results for our teams last weekend.
It's Stevenage 0, Oxford 2.
And it's a third goal for Luton Town. And this weekend, we'll have 4 more live games for you.
Watford at home to Blackburn, the Hornets who lost last week, but that was because of a very poor decision and a sending off.
MK Dons against Bristol City. Big game this one, second versus first in the hunt for promotion to the Championship.
Luton are away to Oxford. The Hatters are still going well and hoping for automatic promotion.
Stevenage at Mansfield. The Borough looking to get back to winning ways.
Live commentary on your local team.
Saturday from 2 here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, we've been talking about this story all morning. A Luton woman claims 3 separate bus drivers refused to pick up her and her grandmother, saying they couldn't accommodate the 80-year-old's wheelchair. Well, this despite the fact they'd used the same number 1 service to get into town in the first place. Let's speak to the editor of the Disability Now website. It's Iain McRae. Morning, Iain.
Hi, Iain.
It's not a great story. We've spoken to Arriva Buses, and they assure us that their buses will be wheelchair-friendly by March. I thought that this had all been sorted out already, though, that buses had to be wheelchair accessible.
I think the problem is that because bus services around the country are now provided by such a range of private providers, it's much fewer than it was back in the 1980s. When I was living in the northeast, and there were probably 3 people providing bus services in just the city of Newcastle. Now there are much fewer and they're much bigger. But so in London, I think it's pretty much the case that all buses have to be wheelchair accessible, whereas elsewhere, so in Luton, they can take their time about doing that. But it's crazy, isn't it? We live in a world where somebody's told, sorry, this bus you can't get on this bus, but the one behind it you might be able to get on or you might not. For me, we ought to be in a world where anybody can get on any bus at any time, just as we ought to be in a world where, going back to your previous discussion, we shouldn't have to be putting cameras in the rooms of older and disabled people in care facilities, because we ought to have carers who are there to do the job properly.
Must be I imagine it will be humiliating for someone who's in a wheelchair, that they're waiting for the bus comes and the driver goes, yeah, sorry, you can't get on. That must feel pretty lousy.
Well, I think frustrating, probably, rather than... Right. I mean, as well as humiliating, probably. But, you think, well, how long am I going to sit here and, how would anybody else... The thing is, you say, how would anybody else feel if the driver said to them, sorry, mate, your hair's too... you've got one of those big sort of afro kind of haircuts, your hair's too big to get on this bus, that would not be permitted, would not be, and it wouldn't be allowable, quite rightly so. So just to have somebody say to you cannot get on this bus is an act that shouldn't be happening to people.
I used to live in London, and they do all the buses I saw were wheelchair accessible, and they would do this thing where they would have to drive up close to the curb, big double-decker buses, drive up close to the curb, lower the bus, and then a ramp would come out. And I'd seen on several occasions the driver spend 6, 7, 8 minutes trying to get the ramp down and couldn't do it because you've got to position it really accurately. And he'd say, I'm sorry, mate, I've tried, and then he'd go off. Yeah. So there's, there is still that kind of attitude of... well, your journey is not as important as my journey.
Well, and the other thing that we've recently had, and I appreciate that you're you're broadcasting to the Luton and vicinity, and I'm in London. But we've recently had in London the whole bus wars thing, where is that space available for wheelchair users or for parents?
Is it for buggies or is it for wheelchairs?
Exactly.
I know, that's a great one, isn't it? What was the ruling in that? Wasn't it whoever gets there first gets it?
First come, first served, basically. And the fact is that it is a big step forward that wheelchair users can use buses at all. That's a massive step forward. Yeah. And it opens up travel in wherever people live, tremendously. But if you then have to say, well, hang on, there's somebody with a buggy there, I'm going to have to kind of battle with them to see who gets on the bus first. As you say, the wheelchair user may have to wait for the ramp to be lowered, by which time presumably the person with the buggy's already on the bus and ready to go.
Things are getting better, but there's still a long way to go. Do you think we're ever going to be... It's ever going to be sorted so that everybody's happy and can get wherever they want to get to, Iain?
Oh... I would really like...
That's a world-weary sigh.
I've been doing stuff about this, for more than 30 years now, and we've certainly come a long way since then. But it is still the case, and we're not just talking about physical. In a way, physical access is the easiest thing to sort out. It might cost money and so forth, but what disabled people are much more likely to run up against are just the sort of negative attitudes towards us that some people have. And, that's not been helped any by the fact that we've just gone through this massive period of austerity and reform, what the government refers to as reform of the social security system, where disabled people are presented as scroungers and, cheats, and that we're out for anything we can get from the benefit system. That is simply just not, statistically, apart from anything else, that is provably not the case. And therefore, we've got to get to a point where people stop regarding disabled people as difficult to deal with, as a problem to be solved, and start thinking of disabled people as members of society.
Iain, thank you very much indeed. Iain McRae, editor of the Disability Now website.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Let's have a look at these accidents on the M1 northbound. First of all, we've got 2 lanes closed because of an accident involving several cars and a van between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and 12 for Flitwick. Very slow coming past the Toddington services there. M1 northbound also has a lane closed after an accident. That's a fuel spill that's being cleared between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. A1 slow in both directions past the Black Cat roundabout with queues to St Neots. And having a look at the A5 southbound queuing between Dunstable Road and Lynch Hill. Buses replace trains also on Chiltern Railway between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Brett for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Simon Oxley. A businessman who's ready to buy and reopen a Milton Keynes doctor's surgery is calling on NHS England to speed up the process. Over 100 residents attended a meeting last night to demand the reopening of the Willen surgery, which closed down suddenly almost 2 years ago. A doctor who sexually abused children at hospitals in Buckinghamshire will be sentenced later today. Guidelines are being issued for the first time on the use of hidden cameras to monitor the care of elderly and vulnerable people. And Britain's worst speeding offenders in 2014 have been revealed, with the highest speed on a 40 miles per hour road recorded on the A10 in Hertfordshire.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Chelsea remain 7 points clear at the top of the Premier League after Willian's 89th minute goal gave them a 1-0 win over Everton at Stamford Bridge. Here's manager Jose Mourinho.
Every time I won the title, I always won a couple of matches in the last minute. I don't think there are champions without one game, 2 games with a last minute victory. So it was our first time this season, and I think the boys' spirit deserves that.
Second place Manchester City won 4-1 at Stoke, with Sergio Aguero scoring twice. Manchester United are up to third after a 3-1 home win over Burnley. Elsewhere, West Brom beat Swansea 2-0. Crystal Palace and Newcastle drew 1-1. Southampton and West Ham drew 0-0. Aston Villa have sacked manager Paul Lambert. Their defeat at Hull on Tuesday night saw Villa drop into the bottom 3. The one-time Wycombe manager had signed a new 4-year contract in September. More from Pat Murphy.
After the eye-watering TV bonanza 24 hours earlier, Randy Lerner's acted to protect his investment. The looming threat of relegation concentrated Mr. Lerner's mind, and despite enjoying the best working relationship he'd had with any Villa manager, Mr. Lerner cast Lambert aside to preserve a top-flight status that's lasted since 1988. With 13 games left, Villa need a shrewd appointment.
Luton have appealed against skipper Steve McNulty's red card in Tuesday's draw with York. McNulty is facing a 4-game ban after his second dismissal of the season. The FA will announce their verdict ahead of Saturday's home game with Carlisle. And Silverstone will stage this year's MotoGP. The Motorcycle Grand Prix will take place over the last weekend in August. It comes after Tuesday's announcement that Donington Park would not be hosting the event. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 9.
There once was a wealthy man who had a wonderful idea to bring children from all places with all kinds of faces together into a sailing ship. There were 40 boys and girls. They would sail their ship around the globe, so they called it the United World. The ship was just 3 weeks from shore when a hurricane bore it down. The waves were big as mountains. They found they would surely drown. They jumped into the lifeboats, rowed away from the wreck. They didn't count them, they hadn't time. 5 children were left behind. The children fought the storm all night and finally fell asleep. They didn't realize the ship had been blown across a reef into the Lost Islands. What? Hiding in the bushes was a watchful pair of eyes, and living in the valley were people lost in time, ruled over by a tyrant whose face was in a mask. The children must defeat him so they can escape at last from the Lost Islands. The Lost Islands.
Boom! What are we talking about, Boyley?
Buses.
Hey, Redfern.
50 Shades of Me not going to the cinema.
Why would... I mean, I'm going to go with the lads. By the lads, I mean Dealey, Matt, Dennis, and indeed Dave from Luton.
I'm
and
more
JVS.
of a man than half of them.
Put together.
Come on.
Yes.
Don't be mean about it.
OK, you're not going. Yep, next.
Aliens. I've got some text. Do you want to hear them?
let's go some texts.
This is an interesting one from a bus insider.
Yeah.
And I've been told not to use a name.
OK. Let's call him Steve.
OK. Let's not call him anything, in case he is called Steve.
Is his name Steve?
No.
OK. All right.
Might be.
Is it
This
Mark?
isn't how anonymity works. Anonymity works.
It's easy for you to say.
Hi, morning crew. Hello. Don't mention my name, please. But the new high curbs in Luton have been put in at some bus stops are too high for the electric ramps on some buses.
Oh, yeah.
So the buses are wheelchair friendly, but the ramps won't sit to the high curbs.
Oh, blimey.
We'll keep an eye on that.
Sorry, I'm not actually listening. I'm ordering a book about Jan and Dean.
Can you listen? Because that could have been an important scoop.
Okay, and now there's a book about Kim Gordon.
No, llisten. Did you hear what I said?
No.
The buses are wheelchair friendly, but the curbs have been put in. They're too high in Luton. Hello? Yeah. Is this on?
Sorry, I'm not listening. What are you saying? I'm trying to order a book about Jan and Dean. Go.
You're not even... What?
I'm pretending to listen now.
You're not pretending, because I can hear you typing.
Go on, carry on.
Look at me.
Let me just click on
With your
this.
face.
Oh, the whole face?
Yes. I want to see your eyes. Front.
Okay, go.
The buses are wheelchair friendly in Luton, but some of the curbs are too high. That's why there's problems.
Okay, thanks.
Right, did you get that?
Yeah.
Tell me what I just said.
There's a bus. Anything else?
Yeah. I know you love a documentary on YouTube.
Eee.
So does this guy.
Yeah.
Another anonymous one, probably the FBI.
Yeah.
When the alien talk comes up, there are always people calling about if there's life and sending signals out into space, or if we've received signals. The fact is, there's been direct contact for over 50 years.
WTF?
If you take a couple of hours out, you need to look up something on YouTube called The Disclosure Project by Stephen Greer.
Okay.
Where he has testimony from over 500 top secret people.
Okay. Well, they're not that top secret, are they?
Hey, listening, Scott. From government, military, astronauts and private corporations who've come on the record about this. It's really mind-blowing. And these are genuine, credible people.
That's complete and utter nonsense.
And then there's loads of stuff saying... Let Catherine go to 50 Shades of Grey with the boys.
She can go.
No, I want to go with you lot. I want to go with Matt.
Dealey.
Hello, boss.
She doesn't understand what a lad's night out to see a soft porn film is, does she?
No, I have to say, on this particular occasion, Kath, I'm really, really sorry about this, but it's lads only.
You might need some stuff explaining to you, that's all I'm thinking.
No, we certainly won't need that.
You told me to see Alan Partridge, and there was a bit of nudity in that.
Catherine,
what?
Can I just say,
what?
One of the reasons you can't go is... Could you do your top-up, please? Thank you very much indeed. Honestly, that's the kind of slapdash behaviour that we expect from you, and we will not... It's a boys' night out.
Yes.
How can we speak freely? How can we be free and easy?
Normally, you hold it all in.
Kath, why do you want to go?
Because I'm not allowed, mostly.
Justin,
Same reason I know the offside rule.
Justin, I'm going to do some reverse psychology. Just bear with me. It's going to sound dangerous, but trust me.
Okay.
Okay, you can come.
Excellent. What time?
It didn't work, Just.
Just tell her a different time.
Yeah, OK, 6 o'clock. Justin, I'll be with you in a second. Lynn's in Hazelmere. You've been on a bus, have you, Lynn?
I have, yes.
What happened? What was it like?
It's all right.
Well, thanks for calling. What have you got for us, Lynn?
I just wanted to say thank you. You know that there's so much negativity. A couple of weeks ago, when we had the bad weather, my mum was waiting at the bus stop, and where we live in Hazelmere, the traffic was crazy, all stacked back, and she could see the bus in the distance, and it was really cold. And the bus driver got off the bus, walked up, and walked back with my mum to the bus.
Did he really?
Yeah, and I thought that was so nice.
Well, you see, isn't it? Now, it's little things like that have such a big impact.
Yeah, it did to my mum. You know, she's told everybody, and she was so thrilled that this gentleman did that for her. You know, it made her day, and I thought it was lovely because you hear so much bus drivers or.
What was the route, Lynn?
It was the number 31 going from Penn through Hazelmere into High Wycombe.
Well,
about 9:30 on a Tuesday.
Whoever that bus driver was, if you're listening, if you know him, genuinely. Well done, because there are so... I do have a little bit of beef with bus drivers, Lynn. I've met so many of them. It's partly because I'm a grumpy man, and I think I bring out the grumpy... All right, girls. I think I bring out the grumpiness in people, but I've met so many of them that are quite rude. There are some really nice ones, but so many that are quite rude. So to hear a story like that is absolutely brilliant. So thank you for sharing it.
Thank you. Have a lovely day.
And you too. It's nice, isn't it? That's nice, Justin.
Beautiful stuff.
That's great. Most bus drivers, you know. Although I was once, when I was in Edinburgh, the first time... 24 years ago. I got a bus with a friend, and we didn't have a clue where we were going. And the bus driver, I said, "Can you shout when we're at the stop for this place?" He went, "Okay, yeah." He went off the route. He drove off the route and took us to the door of where we were going.
I had a bus driver experience in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
It was Halloween. We were dressed up.
Oh, yeah.
It was time to go home.
Oh, yeah.
The bus pulls up, the doors open, and we asked whether this bus went to a certain place.
Yeah.
The response from the bus driver? Get on the effing bus.
Wowzers.
Wow.
Well, as I've said on this show before, I've been kidnapped by a bus driver who held me hostage.
Huh?
Sorry? I was kidnapped by a bus. I've told you this.
Yeah,
No.
what were you refusing to do?
I was refusing to get off the bus.
That makes sense.
So he kicked everyone off the bus, and I refused to.
Why?
Why?
I don't remember. So he then drove on at a pace. Oh no, because the front doors were broken, so he wanted everyone to get off the bus. No.
You said you wouldn't throw yourself
And
out
I said
the
no.
door.
I said I'm staying, mate. Drive. So we sat in the bus stalemate for 10 minutes. Then he drove. He drove at high speeds, and then I dinged the bell for the bus stop. He laughed maniacally, Justin, and refused to stop the bus. Right?
Yeah.
So then I phoned up the bus company. I said, "I'm being held hostage by your bus driver."
It's like a less sexy speed.
It was very unsexy and very not speed-like. But then, because you can open the door with a button.
Can you?
So, yes, you can. On the inside, there's a button.
Wow.
And so I opened the door with the button. And I jumped off the bus.
While he was still driving?
Yeah.
That's a very dangerous thing to do.
Hero.
I say he was still driving. He'd slowed down to approach a roundabout. I
What a
jumped
guy
off.
you are. What a
Mate,
guy.
what a guy. I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, though.
It's like Keanu Reeves.
And then I once held up a bus because the bus driver hated me for some reason. Hated me, right?
I wonder why.
Why? I don't know. He's so likeable.
And he would make a point of, well, if he saw me at the bus stop, he'd pull out into the second lane and drive on. Right?
Why would he do that?
But then he got caught in traffic.
Oh,
So do you know what I did?
jumped on.
I went and no. I went and stood in front of the bus and filmed him. And it's fine while he's stuck in traffic, right? Then the traffic went, and I just stood there. So I'm filming him. He's got his hand over his face, and then my wife walks past. She went, "Iain, I will see you at home in 5 minutes."
Boss,
All right,
I've got to make this point.
Yes, sir.
Your beef with bus drivers
Yes,
is
sir.
out of control. Just deal with it. Go and see somebody.
If you're a bus driver and you're available at 7:30 tomorrow morning, come in and meet Iain and let's have some peace talks.
My bus driver used to drive past the bus stop and pull over closer to my house for me. Just me. Thanks. Thanks, Guy. Thanks.
Justin.
Yeah.
Flowers. We'll do it after the web, if that's all right.
Okay.
I want to give you the full run of the studio.
How big's your ego this morning?
Well, it's pretty low this morning, to be
Pretty
honest.
low?
Yeah, can you pump it up?
Yeah, I can pump it up for you.
Beautiful.
I'm in Hemel Hempstead, my town, this morning.
Yeah.
And I call it the town of love.
Why is that?
Because I live here. And I've been up to the...
bit weird.
So does the real Christian Grey, according to The Sun.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
a
It all
very
happens
mucky
here.
pup.
In Hemel, it all happens. So I've been up to the Queen Square, and the radio car got surrounded by your fans.
Oh.
Yeah, asking various questions. They wanted to know, was Dave and Luton a real person?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
We want to know that, don't we?
Yeah. They wanted to know, were you a real person?
Well, yeah, duh.
Yes. And they also said how much they enjoy the programme, because they never quite know what's going to happen next.
Well, do you know what's going to happen next?
Go on.
I'm going to cut you off mid-flow. We'll get more from Justin afterwards. It's weird, isn't it, to think that people listen to this nonsense?
It's reassuring.
Well, I don't know if it is. I'd rather do this and have no one listen.
Well, let's carry on pretending no one's listening.
OK, 08459 455 555. We'll get
Why are you
Justin's...
giving out the number if no one's listening?
Have we got any texts from no
Yeah.
one listening?
Yeah.
What have they said?
Everyone who's not listening says, let Kath go to the cinema.
Oh,
and
shut
stop
up,
being
Catherine.
tight."
You're just making that up, love.
I'm not.
You are.
No. Do you want names? Marie Simpson. Don't be mean, Iain. Let Catherine go with you.
OK.
And we've also...
I'm not having it.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 northbound has 2 lanes closed because of an accident involving several cars and a van between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and 12 for Flitwick. M1 northbound slow. There's a lane closure here as well between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. A1 slow in both directions through the roadworks at the Black Cat roundabout with queues to St Neots. A5 southbound queuing between Dunstable Road and Lynch Hill. And the M25 anti-clockwise very slow coming past junction 19 for Watford. Those delays are between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 18 for Chorleywood. Buses replace trains also on Chiltern Railway between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Bratz for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yes, you are! 8:45, bang on the nose. Thursday, the 12th, February. BBC Three Counties Radio. These are your headlines. A businessman who is ready to buy and reopen a Milton Keynes doctor's surgery is calling on NHS England to speed up the process. Guidelines are being issued for the first time on the use of hidden cameras to monitor the care of elderly and vulnerable people. And the Arriva bus company says more wheelchair-accessible buses are being added to their fleet after a Luton carer complained that 3 drivers refused to let her and her wheelchair-bound grandmother on. Your calls, Justin Dealey, all of that coming after the weather.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning to you, Ian. Much more of the same again today. Mostly cloudy, limited brightness, maybe the odd patch of drizzle, but most places are going to be dry. It's still going to be on the cold side, though. Highs of only 4 or 5 Celsius. And not much of a drop in temperature tonight, thanks to that layer of cloud. Lows of 2 or 3 Celsius. Much of the night will be dry, but we could well start to see some showers pushing across as we head towards dawn. And a blustery day tomorrow. Further showers through the morning. And these eventually giving way to a more persistent spell of rain in the afternoon, and it will become quite windy. A slightly milder day tomorrow, 8 or 9 Celsius the high, but it may not feel that way given the wind and the rain. And then for the weekend, well, we return to the quiet, mainly dry but often cloudy theme. Perhaps a bit more brightness on both Saturday and Sunday, and certainly a little bit milder with a high of 8 or 9 Celsius on both days.
Every weekday morning.
Let me get on with your consumer problems.
Should I expect it to last as a £350 TV or a £250 TV?
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
Have you gone back to the retailer? I went and spoke to the company that you'd paid the money to.
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
So I emailed again and reminded them of the statutory rights, which I've heard in your programme.
If you need our help, email jvsshow@bbc.co.uk.
They've backed down and they have put in writing to me that I no longer owe the money.
And we could do the same for you.
That's fantastic news. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Your team is fantastic because you look after the people.
The JVS show, weekdays from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Let's go to I don't know where to go to, Catherine. Your call.
Go to A Person Is Listening, Fader 1.
Morning, Person Is Listening, Fader 1.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening all right.
Oh.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's who?
Who is this?
It's Dr. Watts.
Hey! We were all a little bit scared there.
No, don't be scared, mate. I'm playing secret work called Lottery, see if I can get a call in before the boss leaves.
Hey! Your boss is a loser. Your boss is a loser. He's
Marshall
Lamps at Marshall Lamps.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah. I'll see you in my cards later.
Hey, you all right, Watty?
Yes, mate. I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm fine. What does the day hold for you in what is genuinely a very exciting, very cool job?
Yeah, it's the coolest job in the world, isn't it? Well, I've got like 1 million amps to fix. The appointment's due any minute. It's grey outside. I'm looking at my boss through the window. She's not listening, so that's...
Your boss is a loser. Your boss is a loser at Marshall Amps. At Marshall Amps.
So who's coming in with their defective amp? Is it going to be Lemmy from Motorhead? Is it going to be Slash?
Who knows? Could be anyone.
Oh. Have you...
Could be anyone. Could be you.
Well, yeah. When was the last time you had a famous person in?
Oh, I don't know. It's been a while, actually.
Yeah.
It's been a while. But hey, anyway, look, I'll be in next Friday morning. I'm bringing my daughter in to see you.
Hey! How old's your daughter?
She's 14 and she wants to work in radio and she wants to see you guys.
Well, she can come and do it. She can sit in my chair and do a bit of it if she wants.
Oh, ding dong.
Ding dong indeed. Yeah, she can come in and sit in my chair. She can interview me or Kath. There we go. That's that sorted.
Yeah.
Wicked. Well, we'll see you next Friday.
Ta-ta! Tomorrow, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, if you want to turn up, 1 Hastings Street, you knock on the door, there's a little buzzer, actually. You press the intercom, you come and sit in the studio with us, and you chat. she can come if you want to come and do a bit of radio. I'll swap seats. I'm quite happy to do that.
I mean, she thinks she wants to work in radio. We might be able to cure her of that.
Kerry's on the line. Good morning, Kerry. Just before we get to you, Kerry, we've had a really angry tweet from Jason. Iain, stop saying Texas. It's Texas.
It's Texas.
Unbelievable. Picking up on the way we pronounce stuff. Kerry, what have you got for us?
Good morning, Iain.
Good morning, Kerry.
Could you please say February properly?
Could I say what? Sorry.
February.
I am saying it properly, Kerry. You're missing out one of the key ingredient letters.
You are going to have the whole of Hearts, Beds and Bucks changing the way that we say our month. Sorry, Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
Yes.
The way we change our saying of February. Every morning you say it, and my kids aren't here now, they're in school, and they scream down the radio to you.
Yeah, good. Well, because I'm giving them the education, Kerry. It seems you are incapable of giving them. Spell February to me.
February.
Thank you. Now.
February, if you want to be pedantic.
No, I don't want to be pedantic. I want to be accurate. That's the word. That's the word. I want to be accurate. February. What's your beef, Kerry? What's your beef, Kerry?
You sound like a child.
No, I do not. I do not, Kerry. Thank you very much indeed. Justin?
Yes, boss.
Be with you in a second. I'm just annoying all of the callers. Liz is on the line. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning, Iain.
Good morning, Liz. What would you like to say?
Well, Catherine, I think you should get a girly night to the pictures, to the cinema, and go to the same cinema and see who enjoys themselves the most.
But define it, well, I don't actually. Don't define enjoying ourselves. I think it will be a fun night.
Yeah.
Are you busy?
Well, I would love to come with you.
She doesn't want to go with you. It's her idea, and she doesn't want to go with you.
Because I've got a bad foot.
A bad foot? That's the worst excuse ever. That's like the excuse we had when a guest couldn't come on this morning.
Believe me.
A bad foot. See, Liz thinks you should go on a girlies' night out, but even she doesn't want to go with you on that girly night out because she's
unbelievable.
She's got a bad foot, Just.
I'm sure we'll get you a roller skate or something.
She's got she's got a bad foot. I can't come to the cinema. Why not? I've got a bad foot.
Pathetic.
You sit down at the cinema.
Yeah, Liz, listen, it's very kind of you to patronise Catherine in that way. Thank you for calling, Liz.
Ev says, Ev from Luton, who, by the way, is a man, he confirmed for me yesterday.
Oh, nice one, Ev. So it's short for evidence,
it is
then.
Everard, I think.
Oh, OK.
He says I can go with him.
Is he? Well, OK. Well, fine, listen, I'm not stopping you. I'm not banning you.
Ev, Keval, Chris Luton, we're all going.
Yeah, because they're expecting... Anyway... I'm not saying you can't go.
To go with.
Sorry?
Everard would be a great person
to see 50 Shades of Grey, yeah.
With, yeah.
We're not saying she can't go, Just.
I don't get what the problem is here.
No.
Because
the problem is, right...
Go on.
I'd be able to help you with that because I've read 1.5 of the books, so I can tell you where it deviates from the...
we want to go and dry.
You'll be like one of those sad sacks, Catherine, that goes to Shakespeare and reads it. Is reading the book while they're acting it.
I won't be. I'll be muttering. That's not in the book.
No,
that's not in the book.
No.
He doesn't use one of those.
Boyle, we are not saying you can't go. If you want to go with some of the listeners, that's absolutely fine, my darling.
I do. I want to go with Matt and Dennis.
Arrange it with them. Me and Dealey are going with Matt, with Dennis, and with David.
Dave Luton.
Yeah, and we're going to have a great time. And you're not invited.
Joe in Letchworth wants to go as well.
Go with Joe.
No, with you.
Well, Joe's not invited with us. I think we've reached out with full capacity for the minibus.
What if I splash you in Nando's?
Nah. No.
You can have an ice cream.
No. Listen, this is... No, Catherine. These tickets, I'm splashing out on these tickets. I am treating the boys. You're not invited. Simple as.
Good luck.
Thank you. Justin. You are convinced... You're an old-fashioned man. Some would say a very outdated man.
Who's saying that?
Thanks very much for coming on the air, Justin Daly. No, I think the world is, Justin, when you talk about roses being romantic. Where's your imagination?
Well, it is romantic.
Où est l'imagination dans la deals?
Shut up. 12 red roses on Valentine's Day. How romantic is that? Very, very romantic.
No, mate, it's a cliche. It's a
it's
dull,
not.
boring cliche.
No, it's not. All the papers this morning are full of this, saying that women don't want roses on Valentine's Day. It's too cliche.
Yeah.
Some roses are as cheap as £3.99.
That's little, guys.
Your little price. So, this morning, I'm in the town of love, #MyTown, Hemel Hempstead, asking people, are roses on Valentine's Day too cliche? Here's what people had to say. Sir, Iain Lee back in our studio is saying that 12 red roses for Valentine's Day, it's too cliche. What do you think about roses on Valentine's Day?
A load of rubbish. A waste of time and money.
Come on, talk to me. Why?
It's a waste of time and money.
But why?
Because that's just a waste of time and money.
So you never bought roses for...
No, I wouldn't buy a woman rose. I wouldn't even buy the Valentine's card.
But why not?
Because they're not worth it.
So what would you spend your money on instead?
A couple of pints.
Thanks for your time, sir.
You're more than welcome.
Enjoy the...
And you have a lovely day as well.
Enjoy the day of love. Thank
bye.
you. Cheers. We're in a superstore which is playing Shakademas and Pliers. I'm impressed. Madam, if you received 12 red roses on Valentine's Day, how would that make you feel?
I wouldn't be happy at all.
Why?
Because you can give roses on any day of the year.
Boom!
And I think you shouldn't have one day just to show someone that you love them.
So what would you prefer to receive on Valentine's Day? What's more original?
Something a bit quirky. Take me out on a picnic to the middle of nowhere, or something quirky and silly.
I think you've been reading 50 Shades of Grey, judging by that answer.
Not read 50 Shades of Grey.
I'm impressed by this. Come on, yeah. Twist and shout. Thanks, madam. Take care.
OK, bye.
Margaret, lovely jacket, lovely mobility scooter. If your husband bought you 12 red roses for the day of love, how would that make you feel?
Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Something very special, isn't it? 12 red roses.
Yeah, wonderful. I love flowers.
How long have you been married for now?
57 years.
Please tell me he buys you 12 red roses every year for Valentine's Day.
No, he doesn't.
What are you doing with him?
He might treat me other ways, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, look, if it doesn't work out for you, give me a call, yeah?
I will.
Take care, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Linda, you're married. If your husband turned up on Saturday with 12 red roses, would you think you tacky so-and-so, or would you love it?
I'd love it. It'd be really nice, but it doesn't have to be red roses. Any flowers would be nice.
So it's not cliche at all. You would get pure pleasure from that.
Pure pleasure, yeah. Plus the kiss and the cuddle afterwards.
Justin, that's an abuse of your position.
Yeah,
you can't be picking people up.
Now listen, we're having a boys' night out.
Yes.
To see 50 Shades of Grey.
Here.
Laura.
Hello.
What have you called in for, Laura?
I want to go with you.
Yeah, I do.
Hang on, Catherine.
Yeah,
Catherine.
because my husband won't go.
Okay, so you want to go, Laura, to the boys' night out to see 50 Shades of Grey with me, Justin, Dave Luton, Matt, and Dennis in Dunstable.
Yes, because my husband won't go.
Do you know what, Laura?
Yes.
You can come with us.
What? What about me?
I will let Justin. I'm not crossed the line there. Laura can come with us, can't she?
I think so. Yeah, no problem with that.
I will critique it for you.
No, Laura, listen, do you know what? It would be useful to get a lady's perspective as well as the geezer's perspective. So, yeah, do you know what, Laura? Yeah, you are more than welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Laura, we'll be in touch. We'll sort out the date. She sounds like fun, doesn't she, Just?
Oh, she does, yeah.
It'd be nice to have her. Sorry, Kels.
We'll have a great time.
Yeah, it'd be nice for her to come. All right, brilliant. Well, we'll sort that out. Keep Laura's number. We'll give her a call.
Yeah.
Bob, you're the last call of my show. What have you got?
Hello, just letting you know that I bought my wife some flowers for Valentine's Day. There's a packet of self-raising and a packet of plain flower.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
What a guy.
Justin, on that bombshell, what a guy.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 northbound still has 2 lanes closed between junction 11 for Dunstable Road and junction 12 for Flitwick after an accident there. M1 northbound, 1 lane closed here too after an accident. It's a fuel spillage that's keeping that closed between junction 14 for Milton Keynes and 15 for Northampton. Toaster Road is blocked in both directions. We've just had reports in of an accident between Mount Hill Avenue and Deans Hanger Road. Those queues are all the way back to Poundfield Road. A1 slow in both directions through the roadworks at the Black Cat roundabout, and the M25 A45 anti-clockwise. Very, very slow now between junction 20 for Kings Langley and 18 for Chorleywood. Buses replace trains on Chiltern Railway between Leamington Spa and Banbury. I'm Paula Brett for BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Paula. Excellent stuff. Right, that's it. That's your lot. We will be sorting out the lads' trip, with one exception, to see 50 Shades of Grey. I'm looking forward to it now. Don't forget, tomorrow between 7:30 and 8, you can just rock up to the studio and come and sit in the studio with me and Catherine until 6 o'clock tomorrow from us. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. It's Thursday, it's 9 o'clock. And on today's big phone-in, do you think it's acceptable for families to put secret cameras in care homes? Health Policy Monitor